Huh. Hey, Anna.
Hello.
Yeah, Sam is on already. I'm just waiting for the other two. So we are good.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
There comes Tim.
Hi, welcome back to Gamescape 3D. Today we're going to do a speed paint of one of our little peasant houses to show how easy these things are to paint.
Sorry for the short thing between each, dude. You guys ran a little late, huh?
I still have I'm still make-upped up.
So we're all ready to go.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
That's
You can stay
that's
maked
awesome.
up. It's hot.
3 minutes in
Yeah.
so far.
It's cool. Yeah.
Hi, Anna.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, good. How you doing?
Good. Doing fantastic. I just
Yep.
survived a beholder. I was actually stressed out. I even
Oh.
and I got put to sleep, and I was like, no. I'm 45, and I threw a pen. You know.
Yep.
So yeah, a beholder. If you get stressed out from a stupid heat metal spell, the beholder's like 1,000 times worse. Come on.
Oh my God! What a brutal creature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends on what edition as well.
Well, they're supposed to be brutal in every edition. It's
Yeah.
Yep. I'm making a character for a Shadowrun game. I'm going to play with Guild Superior DM Dave on Tuesday.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
What's up,
that is not
Coco,
much to
Morgoth?
it's kind of a primitive one little character sheet and just a few little things, and
Yeah, because you
that's
die
it.
like almost every time, right?
I don't know, but it's set in Greyhawk, so but it's
Oh, cool.
yeah, but you have the few items and that's about it. So yeah.
That's it. You got a few items, and that is it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, Matt.
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
Hi.
Anna Meyer. I don't know if you ever met Anna Meyer, the legendary Greyhawk map maker. My co-host in a lot of shows.
I have not. It's an absolute pleasure. How you doing, Anna?
Same. Yeah. Good to see you.
Anna's originally from Sweden, now in the
Yep.
U.S.
Moved to California like 10 years ago. So yeah.
Oh wow! I just moved to the U.S. like 2-3 months ago. Yeah.
From
Canada.
where?
From Canada.
Okay, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
A fellow polar creature.
Yes.
Living up in the cold.
Very much. I grew up in
Yep.
Quebec in the cold. We're supposed to get a lot of snow in the east coast of the U.S. and I looked at it. I was like, "Ah, this is good."
Yeah, I talked to my mother. They were advised stay in. There will be 5 feet of snow coming the next day or so.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
supposed to get 4 to 8 inches tonight here in South
Uh-oh.
Jersey. Yeah? Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to. I don't have much winter clothes, but I will take what
Oh,
little
you're
I
further
have next
south,
week.
right, Matt? You're going to get more.
I'm in Maryland.
Yeah.
I'm probably 2.5-ish hours away from South
Nah.
Jersey.
I don't want you so much.
If
3
you are,
hours?
are you between 495 and 695?
I don't know the highways that well yet.
So you between Baltimore and DC?
Yes, I am. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
so
between
you're about an
both, yeah.
hour. You're about an hour and 45.
Oh, that's not bad. Wow.
That's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Southern California, so we had a cozy
Yeah.
76 degrees today, so sun shining and awesome. Yeah,
All right, I think
Just getting used to the Fahrenheit.
yeah, me
well,
too. I've lived there for 10 years now, so I'm
Yep.
getting used to it. So
do make sure
it's
you
like
kind of
a
get
nice cozy
the
26
tops and the
degrees
bottoms of
Celsius
your
here today. So
timbers.
yeah,
all right, let's see what
That's
we got
nice.
here.
yep.
Don't just paint the face of these things.
But now it's cooling off
You're not
because
gonna be
tonight
coming
is
back
not going to be
later
that warm. It's like
hit these
down in the
sides.
low 40s at night and the high mid 70s at during
The last
daytime.
time
So
they should be getting painted unless you
Yep.
absolutely have
It's-
to go back into
This is
the
our
old
17th DM's Roundtable,
which,
Anna.
Oh, wow.
17th, good,
Yeah.
good, good. But that means we should have more. We need to reach 20.
I know. And this is our 334th cabin, so yeah. It's all good. All right, just making sure we're good here. Enough of Jeremy painting. Gamescape. All right, let me. Did I start the giveaway, everyone? I don't know if I did. Hold on. I'm lucky if I. Let me just start that Troller Game. Troller Games is giving us some extra stuff today.
And I might
Nice.
glaze over these and
Yeah,
let
alright,
some of
let's
those
start that up.
black.
All right, Tim. Sam is
Black
eating,
timber
so she'll be
lines
on.
come
She
through.
was on first, so she'll be on in a sec.
Dry
I was just crammed food.
Straight paint.
Yeah, that hair color change is awesome, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, I get mine naturally, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Shoo.
Well,
Young,
my
you
character
don't-
was touched by a Yeti, right? So there's a whole arc in this thing, and so there's real cheap cans of hair.
Emotionally touched by a
So-
Yeti, I assume, right? Like
Something.
heart to heart moment.
Yep.
The same
All right,
way.
there we go. I think it's set. All right,
The key
good,
is
Coco,
really
you did it. All
different
right, cool.
amounts of pigment in
Hey,
different
Bones, what's up?
areas.
We're gonna be definitely coming into you and
Kinda
Darling
kill
after
a bit
this.
of your
I know you got a
sugar
great.
in the
Shit,
end.
there's my stream deck's acting weird. It's like there's a loose wire in my.
You have that button that goes to Tim's video that pops around all the time. So
Yeah, all the time. Well, yeah, I should show that to the new viewers. I have a vid,
Big deal there.
and I don't know if I
About
should show it or
2
not
weeks
at some
or so,
point, but
maybe
that's
3.
your call.
you will show it.
No, I'm not talking about the Tim, the Rip the
Oh,
Tongue
okay,
Out video.
some other video.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Todd Stashwick video.
We're gonna go
Oh
over
yeah,
the roof
well
now.
yeah, you should
All
promote
right,
yourself.
if it
That's
comes
good.
up in the discussion,
We'll do the
we'll
inside.
show that. So
That was a good one.
Welcome.
Yeah.
welcome all three of you.
Hello.
Hello.
Let me go to the controller games ad real quick, and then we'll move on here.
Your
So we got a
repurposed
couple minutes
freighter
too.
drifts through space. As you stare out at the
Alright.
starflecked void, another ship comes in. Wait, is this sci-fi? I thought we agreed on a World War II campaign.
Best bet is if
Oh.
you're following in
Did
Twitch
we?
chat, you
That's cool.
pop
I can
out
pivot.
Twitch chat if you don't want to have.
The smell of smoke curdles.
I,
in your
put things
nostrils.
through
Hold
my,
up, I thought we were prepping for a zombie
Yeah,
apocalypse.
that way you save the
Split,
video.
so it's
bandwidth.
live. What you're seeing is live.
All
not
right,
a
here's what
delay
we're doing.
on
It's
mine,
the year
so.
3700.
Yep.
Humanity's elite fled to other
I have the
planets long
stream
ago,
up,
taking with them all
you guys
forms
are
of advanced
already live
technology.
early and I can
Earth
post to my
survivors
Discord.
scrape by with historic
Yep.
tools
Cool,
as
thank
weird
you.
phenomena
Yeah, of course.
plague abandoned nuclear sites. Witnesses report seeing glowing lights and the dead rising from their graves. And amidst the chaos, three
Good old
strangers
Grace
will meet
from
in a
Troll
dim
Lord now.
bar.
She's
A veteran
awesome.
zombie slayer, a disgraced general
So
out for
nice.
revenge, and a space mercenary sent to investigate the power plant.
She'll be
Now
at
describe your
GaryCon as
characters.
well, and Paige will be both.
How did
Yeah,
you
they take that
do
big center aisle almost.
I have the right tools for the job.
GaryCon's in March, right?
Yeah, third weekend in March this year. Yep.
Yeah, my wife's birthday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's usually my birthday too at GaryCon. Yep.
Yeah, I remember there's always a reason why I can't make that. Oh yeah.
Well, there would be enough people to party with there. Trust me. We got like I was saying to Sam, we got like 50 people from our community there every year.
Ooh, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. We just did PAX U. I mean, were you at PAX U?
Yes.
Yeah, I was not because of my surgery. So
Oh,
I literally it's 6 miles from my house.
damn. That's what I figured. Like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, it's right there. I'd been going to it since 2018, and then
My first one. It was fun. Honestly, I think I liked it better than Gen Con.
I
oh,
love. It was way better than Gen Con.
it is better than Gen Con. And it's the only thing I don't like is the way they set up open play game tables.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing I don't like. But everything
But the
else is good.
vendors, like a lot of indie vendors. And
Yep. What's up,
Yeah.
Rob?
Story
Yeah.
once
Jeremy, what's going on?
is ageless.
Ooh, the
Just
black
playing
light.
this new ad at Chuck. You know, I had to beg him for what 6 months for a brand new ad. So I always got to bust Chuck Stones, don't I? Control Lord, always got to do it. I just
So hey Jay, just so you know, I have a hard stop at 9 o'clock because I
Yeah.
have the interview on my stream to
Yeah,
do.
it's fine. If you got to
Awesome.
pull it out 8:50, 8:55, it's all good.
Perfect. Okay, awesome.
Our special guest, let's hope, will be on as soon as that person is
will
available.
never escape.
Hopefully. Anna knows nothing about it. No one does. So I've been keeping this
Hey.
one tight-lipped.
Mhm.
So should be on over in a second. What time is it? 6:54. We're good. Early.
My heart's still pumping. I literally just finished my session. We
That's
ended
great.
at
It sounds like it was a really good
nice.
session too. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Brilliant.
Just doing a final check here on everything. Well, shout outs out. All good.
Mhm.
Don't stare at the 45 spinning. You'll go insane.
Oh, great.
Change it up from previous years.
Oh, look at that. That's a cute duck.
I know you'd be staring
Oh,
at it,
I have
Bones.
another one here.
I knew you'd be staring at it.
Yeah, he's so small. oiled. It's crazy. Yep. It's the only one without any responsibilities whatsoever. Yep.
Yeah.
I just
The
have
Beagle
perks.
Lab downstairs is just staring at the door as an early
Speaking of
preparing
dogs.
to bark at anything. It's working.
Bring him up.
Yeah, I have he's laying down there. He's a mini pincher.
Dude, I love the
Oh
neon.
my God! Hello,
Oh,
babies.
look at that.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I love the neon sign in the back, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
That's alrighty, everyone. Hey, Michael Von Mokel, do whatever you gotta do, man. If you only can lurk, that's it. I don't know how many people are getting hit by the storm already, so.
For a second, I realized you were talking to chat.
Oh yeah, I babble all the time.
He's back and forth, so yeah.
Yeah, you're all good.
So 3 giveaways for Troll Lord Games, 125, $215 gift certificates tonight, exclamation point drawing, everyone. Alright. Something else I have from them in addition. I got a little nice surprise. Lots of surprises. Alrighty. Our first DM's Roundtable of 2025. I don't know, Anna, if we have 1 or 2. I think we had 2 last year.
He's been.
Yeah, we
he's
did.
been on-
Yeah, we didn't have that many.
Yeah, I think we had 2. So, alrighty, coming live a sec here. I don't know, Bones. I don't know if you and Bill hanging out at Gary Con together. That could be really bad. So we're gonna see. All right, live. Here we come. I always feel like I forgot to do something, but I guess I didn't this time. So, all right. Good evening. Welcome. A first DM's Roundtable of the year, and I think we haven't done one in like 4 months. So it's really good to get back into the swing here and bring in some new, fresh faces. And one old face to my down on the bottom row, Tim, but that's okay. He had never done one before, so Anna and I are going to have some fun here, and we're going to just chat up, and we're going to talk D&D and topics like we always do, take questions from the audience. And all of you, if you want to add 1 or 2 questions for you to ask the other DMs, please.
Oh, yeah.
Please let's
Chime in.
Open
Yeah.
conversation here. No, nothing's right or wrong. We just love chatting. So I'm J.K. Lord Gazumba. My campaign's in its 45th year at Greyhawk since I was a little kid, and I got the legendary Anna B. Meyer with me here. We got a lot going on this year already. Anna and I are both involved in the Luke Gygax Mel's Guide book that's going to come out in DM's Guild, and we got a lot of other wonderful things come up. Let's introduce our panel. Ladies first. So Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself. It was an honor to be on I was on your channel once.
Yes.
A while back as an interview. So Classic Sam, I got shout outs for everyone here. So go for it, Sam. Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Hello, I am ClassicSamNYGM. I am a professional dungeon master as well as a talk show host on Twitch and other platforms. And I talk to all kinds of content creators for specific blah 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 blah. Specifically,
That's all right.
Specifically, content creators in the TTRPG space. So it's really been a blast. Been doing all these wonderful things with these wonderful people. And Jay was on the channel, so working on ThePlayMatt and a bunch of other people. We're working on it.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, it was a fun time, and you were the most organized out of anyone who ever interviewed me, by the way, because I think you had
really,
you had a sheet with questions. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, I was like, cool.
Everyone says the same thing.
Wow.
They said the same thing. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but everyone says the same thing. They kind of go, oh my gosh, why do you send questions? Like, because I want you to be comfortable. I want you to be happy. I want you to be like relaxed and chill.
Y'all haven't seen Sam's spreadsheet for this today?
Like it has Excel spreadsheets. ADHD is great.
Well, and another great thing is you're going to meet a ton of people here in chat and in the audience, and you're going to meet them all in person in a couple months at GaryCon, which is really cool.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Yes.
I can't wait for GaryCon. It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a blast. So next, recently moved to the U.S. and been DMing for a while, and does a lot with a homebrew campaign. I want to hear about it, and that's ThePlayMatt. So Matt, welcome.
Hi, yes, I did recently just move to the U.S. from the Great White North of Canada. I go by ThePlayMatt. online. Yeah, I'm a professional game master with a background in acting, a degree in musical theater, and now I do TTRPG content full time. I'm a big fan of everything that is world building and storytelling, and I love the medium of tabletop for all those things. And I just think it's a beautiful sort of space to be in. And I am eternally in love with just the concept of creativity. So yeah, I do a lot of world building streams in Eastern time, 11 a.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, and actual play stuff. I've been running some Vampire the Masquerade as well, and all that fun stuff. And yeah, Sam and I have been trying to do an interview show type thing for the past year, I think. But trying to schedule someone who's literally flying back and forth from Canada to the US every month, and then
it's almost impossible. It's so hard.
It is.
Also getting married, you know, that's a thing. You know,
real life gets in the way of gaming all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it just does.
It does. But yeah, recently married, and here I am.
Well, we appreciate you being on. Thank you so very much. It's going to be a fun discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So, a man who's afraid of the heat metal spell now, from yesterday, Tim, StrongholdTim, Sir Tim, welcome, man. To this is the first time you've done one. You've been on the channel a lot, but this is the first time you've done a DM's Roundtable. So,
I appreciate it.
Hey, Lindsay.
I feel like this is my home on the Lord Gazumba channel. Lately, you've been very welcoming. Got to meet a lot of people. Every time, you know, you go to Gary Con, running into all of you guys, it's like running into a family member. Just walking down the hall, see Anna. Last time I was there, it was just like, man, we've met, we've seen each other. It's really cool. Stronghold D&D, just about 20 folks in our cast. We run several different campaigns there. We've got 4 or 5 DMs. We've got DM Jeremy. We got Pete that was on today, who murdered me with a beholder. And Charm is on there as well. Got a couple authors. KR Paul's with us. Tori Q Hill is a great comic book artist. So we're just like it's just becoming a big collaboration. You know what I mean? And like it's a kind of a space for folks to come in there. I'll do some social media stuff to kind of push their thing and just bring everybody in to collectively, when we meet in these conventions or whatever, we got a big gang together, and it just makes it kind of a family thing. We run charity as well for 988 kind of consistently, and then we're going to be helping you out with St. Jude's, which is awesome.
Yes, and it's right below me now. Undead Tumult. You know, we got a lot of money. We got to surpass $26,271 that we raised last year.
So huge.
So yes, and that's coming up in 6 weeks. So looking forward to that. And
coming fast.
And Tim's like a regular in 2 groups of my 28 adventuring groups, Nuclear Meat and the Bone Baddies, with 1 character. So well, he's got a surprise coming tomorrow night. Doesn't even know. Our session 0 tomorrow night. And Lindsay is on now. The Film Girl Project is on in chat as well. So, Lindsay, it's good to see you watching us, I think, for the first or second time. Please make sure you hit the heart and follow the stream. We would appreciate it.
And that's Bone Baddies, right? Yes, it is for Bone Baddies.
Bone Baddies tomorrow. Yep, absolutely. So, I'm going to ask... Tim will be on with you tomorrow night along with Korg and Coco. So, definitely will be a fun time. I'm going to ask my first question. I have... Me, OCD, Sam, look at this. This is the notes from every DM's Roundtable I've ever done. It's just a stupid piece of paper. Every time I ask a question, I write a note down on it. So I'm going to ask you first question.
Paper's good. Paper's always good.
By the way, we're going to have, supposedly, after the first hour, a very special guest who's going to come on and ask the panel some questions. If that person hopefully can make it. So, and no one seems to know who it is, and that's great. So. Also, courtesy of Troller Games, the giveaway is going on. All 3 of you will each be receiving a $25 gift certificate to their store, courtesy of Troller Games. Okay? All right?
Oh, that's so
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's Chuck. Chuck and Troller Games. What a great sponsor. Castles and Crusades is a wonderful, wonderful system. Very old school feel to it. I wrote a publication for it. We'll discuss that, and we'll go from there. So, first question. You're a DM now, but before you were, what inspired you as you formed becoming the DM you are today? Who or what, or an event, or a show, or I know it's a very wide open question.
Yeah, it's actually a very funny question.
Go ahead, Sam. Go first.
It's funny in hindsight. Okay, so it's funny in hindsight. I came into D&D in 3.5, and great. I was like, I want to do this. It sounds like a great time. I love stuff like this. It's going to be awesome. Sat at a table and was instantly annoyed by everything that was being said and done at the table. And when I left, I was like, I totally could do better than this.
Beautiful.
That's exactly how it happened.
That's it. So you were inspired by another bad experience.
It wasn't that they were bad. It was just that they were boring. It was like, you know, it's literally, it was like, it's literally just one of those moments where you're just like, all right, so we're going down the hallway. Yay for us.
Okay. Right. Understood. Anyone that you like look up to now?
Wow.
Is he wearing a blue shirt with a shield that's orange?
Stop.
Say yes.
Don't yes. So definitely Lord Gazumba, of course. Definitely Lord Gazumba. Captain Robert is one.
Cool.
Now that I'm put on the spot, I can't think of any names all of a sudden, and that's super weird. But you know, there's a bunch of people that I'm following that I love. Matt B-Face Brown is another one. ThePlayMatt, who's sitting here, is another one. You know. So there's a bunch of people.
Cool. Who wants to take that next? Inspiration.
You know what? When I was like, I don't know, a toddler to a young child, let's say 7 years old, and I would watch Dragon Ball Z, and I'd be like, cool, that was great. I don't want to wait till tomorrow night to watch it again. So I have all these Dragon Ball Z figurines. Where's the story going? And so I would just sit there as a child and like make up stories with these characters. I'm like, you know what? G.I. Joe is also in Dragon Ball now. How do we make that creatively fit? Much less big brained as a small child, but it's just the concept of like creating just imaginary things all over the place. Being a young kid with ADHD, I would sit in classrooms and daydream about just stories and all my favorite shows. And like, I wonder where it's going to go next, and start like fantasizing and role playing that stuff in my head. And I know looking back on it as an adult, after processing a long time, that's where like my love for like role play and storytelling came from. And it's a lot better with people. So much better with people, right? I played like imaginary style games and stuff as a kid with my friends until I was like 11 or 12, and then I was bullied for it, so I stopped for a long time and found tabletop games after working in the theater industry, and was like, oh yes, this has been like deep rooted into my blood for decades, right? So that's kind of that, I guess.
Very cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I think all of us are coming from the same where we find something and we just fall in love with the game, and it can branch into other things. Very, very cool. All right, Tim, I've never asked you this question.
Getting into, why, like what got me back in is with DM specifically, because I always like got into world building and stuff like that all throughout my life. But specifically, I was, so I'm in the military. I was stationed in northern Italy, and COVID hit big time there. I was never a DM, but we were locked down, and I have a background in like fantasy and whatnot. And my wife knows that I have a bit of an addictive personality. And, it was like, maybe we should start getting into Dungeons and Dragons with our team if we're locked down here in Italy. We started watching Jason Charles Miller's Kickstarter.
Nice.
And his theater of the mind approach worked so well for Zoom. Yeah. So we Zoomed everybody in our Italy campaign, and it kind of really took off from there. And it was really cool because I reached out to him and I was like, hey, like it was bad in Italy. Like it was really, really, really locked down. And I wrote him from the other side, and I was like, hey, just so you know, like your little YouTube video, it makes a difference. Like you doing that, I just want you to know that you made a difference. Like like have actually impacted people's lives by instructing and teaching people how to play D&D in that little, like those, I think it was 6 episodes, but yep, that's what jumped me off into it, because
Joy-Con Live. Yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You know me. I'm going to be I can interrupt Tim. That's all right. I will interrupt Matt or Sam, but I can interrupt Tim. So yeah.
No, it was good.
That's cool, man.
That's awesome. For me, it was I was dragged into it. Our DM, he got a scholarship in the U.S. back in Sweden.
Thanks,
so we just looked at each other and said, we're going to go once every session, just rotate around. And after I've been doing it twice, then people say, no, you need to do it again. And I thought I was awful at it. And so I slowly grew into it. And then I was the forever DM for like 20 years. And I got to run, and I didn't have anyone else to more than the first one and my gaming friends. They were the only inspiration I had because there were no one else. And then we had little local conventions and stuff, and I slowly grew into fantasy. And so I started gaming before I was interested in fantasy. And fantasy came out of it in world building and all that eventually. And now I turned the other way around, and now it's my career. So it's kind of kind of awesome. But it took a long time to get here. So yeah, for me.
I love how now the raid thing says that they want to collaborate, and you got to hit the yes button. It's bizarre. I mean, Twitch always changes things around. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So, but thank you so very much, Garner and Gary Con Live coming in. Garner is so. Let me see if I have that as we're talking. So
He was my DM once.
What's that?
Yeah, I lucked out. I lucked out with him as a DM. I walked by his table at Gary Con. He's like, hey, you want to sit down?
Oh, cool.
I just like looked at him. I was like, I know who you are. You don't know who I am.
And how did he know who you were?
No, I think I was just a dude just walking by the table.
Oh,
like, hey,
okay. Garner's an awesome guy. So
he's fantastic.
If we go to this is the ad in the center page for. Thanks, Moose. Thank you for the hype train. This is the ad in the center page from Gary Con's last year that we did. There's Garner. So just so you're saying that myself up top, we paid for it, so we're getting up top, right? And then all the rest of the crew, Anna, we got a whole bunch of people on here. I don't think you and I, Tim, were yet intertwined yet as much, but whole crew, you got Darling Bones on there, Mariette, Coco Bird, a lot of other people, Curtis, in the community. So just note that the relationship goes back a long way there, and the 50th anniversary was really great, right? But now we continue onward into who knows? Hopefully we'll all be around for the 60th. So, Anna, I'm going to have you ask the next question. B-Town, thank you.
Okay, I was thinking when you run games, one of the tricky things to get to administer effectively is initiative. I'm not thinking about the system, but how do you handle the information? Do you write it down on a piece of paper? Do you store it across the DM screen, or how do you do? Do you just remember in your head, or how do you keep track of it when you have like 6 players and 10 enemies and they're supposed to do it? Meaning, when people yell it out and their results, whatever system you're having, how do you keep track of that information? Tim, let's start with you.
Okay. Yeah. So I started out with like the magnets, and then but I just kept playing so much that here it is. It's just a stream. It's just like a wax pencil on a canopy. You know what I mean? Like I just, I write down, I ask who's above 20, who's above 15, who's above whatever.
This is like an auction reverse.
Yep.
What's that for initiative?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
Cool.
And I give my big bad a high roll. I give my middle guys the middle, and my goblins in the 5s. And then that's how, just for the speed of it, they know they want to roll high to get ahead of my big bad. And then, whatever.
So you fudge initiative.
That,
okay.
That's cool. Yep.
That's cool.
I think for me, it depends on if I'm using a virtual tabletop, because oftentimes you can just, with something like Foundry, you could just select everything, click, and then it does the whole thing. In person, or if I don't want to use a virtual tabletop, if I'm doing Theater of the Mind, which I do quite often, I'll pick a player, usually one that will consent to it or has ADHD, and I'll be like, can you take initiative? And I'm going to go to the bathroom. And that's when I finally, listen to my body needs to, drink water, have food, and be a person, because some people believe that I'm a lich, but unfortunately, that is unsubstantiated. No, for real though,
sometimes young lich, you can go into it.
It's a lot of glamour spells. But for real, it's more like sometimes it helps someone have a task, and oftentimes, that's not something that I think. Building the tension up to the combat initiative is always something that kind of kills the tension a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I take that moment to be like, okay, we're coming out of it. Or sometimes what I'll do, depending on the type of game, pre-roll initiatives where people just do the rolls and have them ready, just so we're not rolling that dice for extra dice depending on the game. But I think often having someone else track initiative keeps it kind of fun for me, because I'm like, I usually by the second round, I know the initiative in my head. But it's just fun because we're all playing the game at the same time, right? We're all going like, oh yeah, this person's next, and it's not just like everything is overly sort of pre-planned.
Oh, another raid coming in.
But yeah.
Sam?
For me, it totally depends on how frantic I am. Most of the time it's pen and paper because 9 times out of 10, my computer's not working and everything that's supposed to be up isn't. So pen and paper it is. And I just go in order, just whoever says it first and I go clockwise around the table. That's it. We're not making it complicated at all because my life is already complicated.
Yeah. That's one of the things. I'm more or less skipping initiative. I just go keep the story and keep the momentum.
Yeah.
So my new house rules or rules, they will be my version of D&D. That will simply be that if whoever has the initiative that drives the story will go first, and if you want to go in, you have to challenge it. You have to spend an exertion point to challenge it, and then you roll. Otherwise you just run in. So if there is an ambush, the ambusher would win. If you get ambushed, you have to do an effort to try and get ahead of so to speak. Otherwise it's a story. If the characters are the ambushers, the monsters have to spend that effort to try and get ahead, so to speak. So I just try to keep the momentum going without roll, meaning it's kind of takes an effort to challenge the momentum, and that means that you can't use that exertion point. That's like a meta currency on other stuff later. So it's a trade-off. If you want to go first, it might cost you later, so to speak. So that's just to keep the momentum going as much as possible. Yeah.
Paper, notebook.
Yep.
Chicken scratch.
But I think initiative is one of these things that you can effectivize a lot. And there's no right way to do it. You just have to find a way that function for your medium, table, virtual, and with your game style, so to speak.
There hit a point, I think, when if I play with a campaign that I play with more, and I know the play, and I have a photographic memory for math and things. So oftentimes, I'm fine with the quick math of moving things on as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But sometimes what I'll do is I'll go based on, let's say, dexterity modifier, initiative modifiers.
Yep.
And I'll just start narrating who's going. But this is something I tell my players before the game, obviously, if we're gonna roll with that, just to keep things moving in, so it's not and I've tried it before, and sometimes it's all right. Oh, 4 of you have the same initiative modifier. Then I'm like, okay, it's not a perfect system, but trying new things out is always fun, Yeah. Yeah. It's like a pie in the face type situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, what do I do, Tim?
Oh, I like the die 6 initiative. That's cool.
initiative.
And you kind of just go around the map and then you challenge. I mean, that's perfect as well. And it's I like the team initiative as well. That's a good idea. I haven't done it. I actually haven't even given it thought. So it's interesting that you bring this up because I could probably reevaluate how initiative is done.
And also when you're streaming games like Jay do, then you have another chance of interacting with the public or with the audience, meaning they can chip in and give points and stuff. That's another key issue when you have streaming games. Then you want to interact with the audience, and I guess initiative is one of these kind of fixed points when that is cool to put that into, so audience can interact.
Hero points,
Every once in a while, if I'm feeling lazy and I just don't feel like doing it, I'll just talk, who wants to go first? Literally, it's just I can't. It's literally whoever wants to go first. Whoever's the closest, go for it.
And some people they just go around the table when you have a physical table. They just go in clockwise. So it's easy to remember, and that way people know when to get ready. Because that's the other trick, is to get the next player say you're next, so to speak. So they get ready, so they know what spell to cast, and they have their whatever ready and stuff.
So for me, it's based on positioning, group initiative, and I'll go from furthest back beyond the encounter to closest. And the reason for that is depending on the situation of a spellcaster's availability. Like I'm just going to throw this is just an example of like a fight that we're going to finish up next week. This is Thursdays. Coco will have, if she's on, she'll have scarring from it. So it just depends on which character. Like here we got characters up top, we got and then group initiative will happen. Good guy, bad guy. There can be some modifiers to it based on the hero points, but that tends to be the way that we do it. So yeah. And for me, the last thing I want to do is slog down on a stream in a D&D game, because streaming and DMing at conventions are like the same thing.
Okay.
You got 4 hours, or we got 4.5. You can go late on a stream. You can't go late at a convention. Someone else is coming on. No, seriously. Someone else is coming on that table. So I do not want to hold up combat. I don't want to drag out combat there, and that's kind of where this came from. Thanks, Why This Now. Thank you very much. Yeah, so thank you all for that hype train. Really appreciate it. So that's a great question, Anna. Really, really good question. So, all right. I will ask another one here if everyone's okay with that. Sounds good. So, campaigning. Everyone knows I'm a little insane with this. 45 years, Greyhawk, 28 active adventuring groups. It's ridiculous, right? I know Tim plays in Forgotten Realms a lot. And I know Matt is a home brewer, which is awesome. What leads you to campaign? Why? Like, what are the reasons behind what you're doing as a DM? And because anyone can DM, but when you turn it into a campaign, then you have something. You got a breathing world, and it just feels immersed. So, who wants to take that one up?
Sam.
Okay, yeah.
Silence.
Yeah. For me, for a campaign in Forgotten Realms, we wanted to go for a 1 to 20 campaign for our first go, and we keep layering our campaigns in the same area. So when you go through a village, much like when we're in Ulick, you know who the dude is in the tavern because you've met him 45 campaigns ago or whatever. So the more you layer these campaigns in the Forgotten Realms, the more that Waterdeep changed. It used to have a giant knight, statue, but that got blown up, 3 years ago. So now it's just a leg, and that just helps you immerse, in the session. And people who have been watching for a long time have more equities in it because they're like, oh, I remember what happened to the Drunken Duck, our tavern. That's one reason, and you keep it going for a really long time. It just helps with that pause button. Like you're invested, in your character that you work on. You've got more time with them, and you don't feel rushed if you fall in love with them. So,
but why Forgotten Realms?
Oh well, at Mr. Greenwood's world, I love Forgotten Realms.
Okay.
I've gone from everywhere from Elaine Cunningham stuff to Ed Greenwood stuff to R.A. Salvatore stuff, and it's just there's a lot of lore, and me personally, I like to know everything about Loudwater. Like I'm the type of person to go in there, and if I'm going to that village, like I want to know a detail that'll spark someone. So like if I'm playing in a Star Wars campaign, I want to go to Tatooine, right? Like I want to, describe something that someone saw in a movie and bring them in. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
sure.
That's why Forgotten Realms. So it's a little bit of buy-in and understanding for someone that just drifts into the game and go, oh, okay, they're in Waterdeep. It should look like, X.
Okay, great answer. Who's next?
I'll be perfectly honest. I haven't done a campaign, like a full campaign, that lasted a while in about 10 years.
Okay.
Like I've done a bunch of one shots, a bunch of like five episodes here, or five game time sessions. A few that were 10 sessions, but nothing was a long-term campaign, and that's because I have a short attention span, and 9 times out of 10, something else is going to come up. So it's almost impossible to finish a campaign. So I haven't been in a campaign in a long time.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
No, it's
No.
great. Yeah.
As long as you're DMing and enjoying yourself, and your players are enjoying themselves, that's all that matters. Definitely.
I'm laughing because someone in your chat said there's a mountain lion behind me. That's my cat Sisu.
Oh, it looks really cool. Yeah.
And she's about 22 pounds, so close enough if I'm not lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big
Big
cat.
bobcat. At
She's
least.
she's
Yeah.
she's a big one. I call her turkey butt, so there's that. Yeah.
Awesome.
She enjoys it.
Matt?
Why a campaign?
Yeah.
I love TV. I love films. I love theater. I have a background in theater. I work professionally in theater, and then the pandemic, swept a lot of theaters in that industry. And I watched something like Critical Role, but before that, a decade before that, I watched Acquisitions Incorporated.
Oh wow.
Every time they'd go to PAX. Oh yeah. So recently, for a big fundraiser to help me move to the US and all that, the wonderful Kate Welsh from AC Inc. Came on and played, and it was like a bit of a wow.
Awesome.
This is a great, like, this makes me so happy, right? Playing with someone that I've known their character for a very long time. But all that to say, what is so interesting about a D&D campaign for narrative storytelling is that story is unique no matter what. Even if every person comes in with a character that's very much based off of something that is in popular media, it doesn't matter, because the uniqueness of the person, the player playing that thing at that table, is going to make that story. And I adore world building. And for me, world building is about using sociology, psychology, and history to make a decision on everything in my world. Why is my town like this? What is the politics of my town? What are the cultures like in my town, and why? Every time I world build something, I ask myself, well, why is this here? Every time I look at something in popular media and I go like, okay, let's break down why this is like this. What do I want to take from that, and why? What kind of stories do I want to tell? Everything is storytelling. The gods in my world exist in this meta sort of thing because of storytelling. The people that worship them influence the way they look, how they, the powers that they have, and vice versa. And it's this strange ephemeral thing that anybody who plays in my campaigns gets to kind of touch that and be a part of that world building, and not just experience it, but soak their hands in it and add something new to it. And it's the yes and of just the behind the scenes before the campaign even starts, right? And I'm not someone to sit down and write a novel. If ADHD one of them, but I love the collaborative effort of being creative with other people, and everybody has a unique take on what creativity it means to them. And the best thing for me is being at a table full of people where the sparks fly. And it's just about chemistry. It's not about like who has this skill in that. It's about chemistry and seeing people actually just get excited and share those relationships together, right? And every campaign is unique. I haven't run a campaign in about 1.5 years, and I might be self-promoting here, but I'm finally starting on with some of my patrons in like a week or two. And so I'm really excited to kind of do that and bring them in my world, some spaces that I haven't gotten to visit too much in the past 1.5 years. And every time, what I love about this is I'm someone who loves the craft and thinks there is no threshold of getting better at the craft, because it's a personal journey. And every time I get to do it, I get to learn more. And I get to learn more about other people and just humanity in general. That's why I love the arts, because it's about learning about humanity. That's why I love being here right now, because it's about learning about other people, their experiences, because that is the most enriching fucking thing we can do.
Absolutely.
That's my take.
Very cool. Excellent. Anna, we'll flip back, and after we go, then I'll throw a wrench into this. So, yes.
I need to tie into world building a bit, since I turned that into my career. And the weird thing is I love world building even more than my games, so to speak. So gaming is kind of an excuse to sit and do maps and heraldry and tinker with all that. Is like I need an outlet for them. It's turned into that, so to speak. But on the other hand, I love gaming dearly, and I want to tweak it. So I was thinking, Matt talked a lot about world building, and I was thinking also, meaning, do you keep a consistent world and a story and so on? And how do you record it? Do you keep like troves of paper? Do you have Word documents? How do you keep track of it? Or is like, oh, I know my games and I fly by the seat of the pants and stuff like that? Meaning, how do you keep consistency? Or do you keep consistency? Or do you just, this is an awesome story, just go with it and so on? So Tim, do you have, or Matt, anyone? Yeah, I was kind of curious. Tools.
Consistency? Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Or tools,
There used to be the Open Lords of Waterdeep. Now it's the Archbishop of Waterdeep that runs it from a level 20 character that took that place. Adbar was destroyed. Citadel Adbar was destroyed and had a doppelganger for a king that was discovered, and one of our characters was just anointed there, or coronated. So yeah, it stays. And then when the next campaign moves in, these things happen, and it's cool because if you want to know the lore, so we also run 3 campaigns or simultaneously. So there are 3 parties all running around in Forgotten Realms, much like what Jay does with Nuclear Meat and Bone Baddies. Hey, this place was just blown up. It's scarred. Why? Well, because the other party was here Thursday. And that is so fun because you're connecting with people and you're adjacent, and it just grows the community. And people who really love the fantasy of it and can have the imagination really feel that stuff. Like
you can go back to stories you told 10 years ago, and people can go, damn, that was so cool. We remember this. So but how do you keep track of it? Meaning, you keep Word documents, stashes of paper, binders.
I've got it's all in books behind me.
Oh, cool. Old school. That's
all right,
awesome.
I'm gonna give myself a hernia.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
This is 1/20 of.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to.
Yep.
Yeah. So Matt, how's your world building? How do you record it? Keep track of it?
It used to be in Google Docs, and then I switched something like Legend Keeper. That it's just way more organized.
That's a cool tool. Yep.
When I was running a campaign regularly, though, the only thing I'd have to look up is my NPC names. The rest, it was just because I spent a lot of time during the pandemic just in my world. I would go on 1.5-hour walks just thinking about my party, their backstories, the best things or like what would be a really fun, interesting thing that would really maybe have them have an emotional reaction to something. But now it's mostly the notes through those things. I think the easiest thing I have with homebrew that people don't have to deal with, or no, that have to deal with like more difficultly, is like, if I haven't set it to this table, it's not canon yet. So I can change that, right? Whereas, with something like the Forgotten Realms, there are open wikis, there are books over decades and stuff, right? And
that's one of the beauties with stream games too. You get a recording. You can actually go back and listen if you want to.
We did that today. We couldn't remember the backstory. So the 15 minutes prior, when we were loading our screen, we were all like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is great. I love that.
Yeah.
But it also,
Matt, please continue.
It just allows me to have the world building support what is going on with this party. If I need to change something, if I need to really draw on a certain theme, because I can see they're really loving it when I sit back and listen to them talk in character and stuff. Just if I have one town and I'm running a one-shot with these people, I can make that town seem super goofy, where it's like the tone is very different because it's using what I got in the kind of the creative sphere of what I got for the purpose of the people in front of me, kind of thing,
Yeah. Awesome.
I mean, for me, it started off as paper because I had an idea. It started off with something I observed here in New York, and quickly developed over time. Like, I could only write so fast as my brain would let me. So eventually the handwriting wasn't fast enough for me, so I switched over to Scrivener, and Legend Keeper is another one I use. There's so many apps that they're all over the place. I even have Word documents, so I don't have it organized, but my homebrew world is definitely a thing that I consistently play in. I don't really play modules or set campaigns, mostly because I'm more interested in what I see, and what I do. So
Awesome. Yeah, the reason I asked this question is that the last 5 years I've consistently realized I need to up my game. Now this is my job, and I need to be better at it. And I need to. So I'm building. I have Evernote that I just stash things in, ideas. I come up with whatever, and just take from the internet, whatever. Then I have Obsidian. That is a tool that I'm using.
I love Obsidian.
And I'm building it with stat blocks, and I'm building in the rules, and I'm building everything is searchable, and so now I'm building a geographical database. And stuff. So I'm
this is my friend right here on the long time. So
yeah, because you can bring this stuff with you and you can read it and you can tweak things and you can house rule up the galore and you can have maps in it. I'm going to have a geography server tied to it, so I've mapped Google Earth, so to speak, or Google Greyhawk in the future and stuff. So I can test it and then bring it out to the public afterwards.
Well, I carry my phone around because notes on it, because a lot of times the stories come from. I live in New York, so the stories come from what I see. It all started with watching from a friend's window, a guy being chased by the police on the subway tracks. I thought it was hilarious, and it was the most. It was
So New York.
It was
Yeah.
so bizarre. I was like, I'm looking out the window, like, why are they running on this?
But that's a great example because you don't know when creativity strikes.
Exactly.
So my advice is
Exactly.
you type it down, just a few words, or say it into the phone and record it or something, so you can then come back to it and see, okay, what kind of influences, when you have time over, you can write it and more properly and put it in there. So yeah, that's
Good, man.
awesome.
I think you were going to say something.
No, I was just agreeing because like you never know when creativity strikes,
Yeah.
right? And the worst part is if it's like you're out drinking with friends or something, and you're on the way home, you're exhausted, and you're like about to go to bed, and you're lying in bed, you're like, oh no, this is a ridiculous monster idea. You're like, grab your phone, you're like, type it the best you can.
Oh yeah,
you're
exactly.
not going to remember,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep.
But yeah, what was I going to say? I found your virtual tabletop, like I adore, because you can store all your maps there. You can store, and I'm not sponsored. I just really like the actual virtual tabletop. I run fully improvised games with battle maps and creatures and stuff because you can have everything there and like have everything organized in a way that you can just kind of click on it and share it with your players. So if you forget stuff, it's an easy click away. I got better at memorizing things from my homeworld because I didn't want to go through my documents. I was just like, no, you better remember it or else, you don't want to stop the flow, right?
Right.
Because of pride. Fully because of pride, I don't want to stop.
This is pride.
Yeah, and I'm a visual thinker. Yeah, I'm a visual thinker. So that's why I love maps, because if I just have tons of text, it would take forever to read it. But a map will tell me things, and I can see connections, and then I can link to the text and read the text afterwards. So I need that physical. Sorry, Jake.
No, I was going to say, we have some new people here. I want to just, so that they get the scope of the Anna Meyer Greyhawk maps. Give me 1 second. No, seriously.
I love that it's just for pride. Like Matt's just like it's totally for pride. No other reason, not for the enjoyment.
I'm half kidding, like I'm half doing a bit, but it's something where it's like it's your own personal challenge, right? Where you're because we love what we do when we do this stuff, you know.
So here's an Anna example that she's working on. This is the city of Critwall in the Shieldlands. We've been sharing this and probably will use this for our publication. Yeah, but as you can see, so tell everyone what the scale of this is, Anna.
It's each pixel is 5 feet.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow!
And this is not only top down; it's 3D.
Yes.
And I've done a whole country at 5 feet per pixel.
Yeah, but
it's over 3,000 square miles.
Tell them what the style is called, Anna.
I call it porta potty scale because the porta potty is 5 by 5.
That's
feet,
amazing.
So so it's the porta potty. Yeah. So I'm for my Shieldlands campaign, I'm going to have the whole Shieldlands at 1 pixel per 5 feet. You can actually use it as a battle and the whole country, so to speak. So this map is available on my website and a bunch of others, and you can also use it to create. There's like an image what the city looks like from the side as well. Yeah. When you come on the river, the data is so good that you can actually use it in 3D and you can make like an image of what a city. It should be there somewhere.
I know, and I can't find it. Because everything's all over the place. But
I'm just gonna put it in here.
I'm spoiled because Anna customizes my Greyhawk map off of hers for me. So but this is like this level of detail is just insane. So just to give you an idea of what her trade is and how awesome it is. So it's really wonderful.
I'm trying
wonderful things.
And also the raw material, the layered PDFs and layered PSD files and the GIS, the QGIS source files are available to my patrons and then will be for everybody. So you can download this and make your own version of it. That's the idea. So you can use it and tweak it for because your city might be different. So they burned down that building or there's a new street here and stuff.
So this is a great discussion, and here's what I've been as we evolve and I start getting writing and I start doing publications. I am finding that I am great at deciphering what I put down as a DM, but then converting this to a publication that's going to go out it's a lot harder than I thought. It's tough. I mean, that is a difficult thing, and now we're in the middle of of doing some other huge projects, and you think there's room to learn, and I'm trying to learn how to be a better writer when it comes to putting out a a game or a or an adventure or a setting book that someone can understand and utilize themselves. Because what I write on there is great for me and great as a DM, but it's not, it's got to feel like it's mine, and that's tough to do. That's tough to send over. So that was a great question, Anna. So, all right. Which one of you would like to ask the other two or the whole panel a question?
See, I don't have it. I mean, you know what?
Go for it. You got a question?
Absolutely not.
Matt, you got a question?
But I'm sure you guys have aspects
just
of the game that you're really curious about. Meaning, are you kind of rules oriented, or are the stories more important, or is it the tactical? Is it a free flowing theater of the mind, stuff like that? Meaning, those are I think important aspect where you like to be the most.
That's a great question. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, meaning some of us are the game and the rules, and that part is the foundation of it. And then you place it somewhere. I'm the opposite. The setting is the foundation, and the rules is a necessary evil to bolt on top.
50-50.
And there's nothing wrong either way. It's more like, where do you come from? You come from, see, this is a game where you do cool stuff and add a place, so to speak. Or this is like, oh, we have improv or whatever, and we need to have structure on it and so on. Or
I got a good one.
Yeah.
And this is one as a professional game master and someone who coaches GMs. And this is one that I've noticed, I feel like is part of the culture of the game for the past, over the past 50 years, the relationship between game master and player and the expectation between game master and player. And so for those who've been playing for about a decade, for those who've been playing for multiple decades, the question is not, I don't want it to be black or white. In terms, I want it to be. I'm literally processing this as
it's okay. Yeah, that's part of this great part of this discussion.
Yeah. How do you think the expectation of what the GM should bring to the table has changed, or what do you think it should be?
Okay,
that's a great question. Yep.
I could take that. If you want me to go first, I can go first on that.
Go for it.
All right. So it's definitely changed in 45 years of playing. Now I've had friends go back. One goes to 78, two go to 80, one to 83, one to 85, one to 92 for my core group of players. And a lot that I've learned to keep them interested is, and I can't play it with just 1E AD&D. I've made changes, but I have taken their input. They have made up classes for me. They've made up monsters. They've made up spells. They've made up situations. They made up entire plot line arcs. So basically, it's I'm the DM, but I have taken input from all of my players to make the game their game too. And I think that is something that I would have never even considered in 1985, right? It's my game. I'm the DM, but now I've kind of grown with it, and I've gotten a little more easygoing. Gosh, Tim, the rule of cool has gotten a little. I've done it a little bit more than people said. You're going soft, Jay, right? Because you know what the rule on a 1E Grognard is? Like, you're dead, black and white, black and white.
That's interesting because when we had our conversation, you're very much rules is written almost.
Rules is written, but I've allowed some things like, okay, so you're 30 feet away. I'll let you move and attack this round, right? I've kind of become a little more of a showman and a DM when it comes to games on stream. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, but Jay, your games have also escaped the game room. They are out in the world now. Meaning they are scrutinized, viewed, loved by so many more than your players and yourself, and that's probably affected the game.
It has
at the table for good for the most part.
Sorry for going on too long there.
No, you're good. But just to reiterate, what is you think it's changed? What do you think is the expectation?
So.
The player should have of the GM?
That's a good question. An expectation of a GM. The GM should be able to bring in someone and surprise them with, wow, I was expecting, wow, this is even more fun than I thought. I mean, to bring someone into your game and have them wanting to come back for the next session. You've done something great when someone can't wait to play again.
Mhm.
You know, and we can ask the gentleman to the caddy cornered. Tim, what thoughts on that?
Ooh, man, I think, Jay, I do a lot of one shots and stuff where I get pulled in. I am lucky enough to work with a lot of different DMs, and I would say, it's a big, in the eye of the audience. So sometimes you'll get in a session where the DM's just got to be the entertainer because folks are tired. It's a Tuesday night, and you're the host. You've got to do all the things. And then sometimes the role players are such amazing improvers or whatever that you just sit back and watch it happen.
Yeah.
I think if you're on, there's two different things. If you're playing at home, which I think is kind of rare, I don't see that much. Streaming has allowed people to bring it, or Zoom or whatever has been allowed to open up TTRPGs. But I would say the difference between the production versus the story is something that I find as a DM on a stream that's kind of difficult because there's still an audience that needs to have some buy-in. There's buy-in from the table as well, right? So as a DM, as a streamer, you've got to keep the folks that are in the audience entertained. You got to keep the things moving, and rule of cool keeps the things moving. Like, don't even roll for that. It hit.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing like, oh, you might have taken away a little bit of agency, but you sped things along, and then you can give that back to them somewhere else if you have that contract with your players. So as a DM, I think it's very dynamic in the streams to keep that whole thing going. Keep a 4-hour production going from RP into encounter into RP next session. And then you just keeping it steady and keep them entertained. It's tough to do. Experience is important.
I think Tim kind of like touched on a little bit is that there's difference between a home, like your home table, and streaming. There's a definite difference between DMing with no cameras. It's just you and your friends or a group of people that ask you to do this thing, and streaming and DMing on a camera. So the expectations are going to be wildly different. And I think a lot of times when you are DMing on stream, especially if you're new, you don't know. Sometimes you don't know what the balance is between entertaining not only the table and your audience, but also maintaining a level of knowledge and expertise that is expected of a streamer, a DM that's streaming. Whereas if you're at home, I'm like, okay, I have no idea what that rule is. Where's the book? There's a huge difference. So I think there's a major difference there.
So real quick, Anna, 1 second. I'm sorry, I got it.
No problem.
Special guest is coming on. This person once said to me 2 years ago in a Twitter post, "You can have the record for the United States, but I think I have the record for the longest campaign in existence."
Okay.
Okay. So everyone, welcome to us to this chat. As here he comes, Mr. Ed Greenwood.
Oh wow! Hello, sir.
Hello.
Ed.
Hi, bud.
Hi.
Hey, good to see you.
Ears ringing. You may have.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Elminster himself, Ed. Yes.
Yep.
Ed, thanks for coming on. We're having a great discussion here. We're talking campaigns. We're talking a whole bunch of different things. I know, you were on one a little while ago, and I know you loved it so much. And you consider yourself a co-host with Anna and me, asking some questions of the great people we have on. We have Classic Sam, ThePlayMatt, and StrongholdTim with us. So there you go. All right. So Anna, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was thinking. Matt asked the one question of what is the expectations of a DM, and I was going to put the historical perspective, and I think Ed can chime in on this too. Meaning, today, an aspiring DM or a player, you can there's so many ways to learn the game. You can go online, you can watch YouTube videos, you can watch shows, you can see the game in action and so on. Go back 20, 30 years, that was nothing. You had to read a book in abstract, and then, meaning we literally sat for 2 decades trying to figure out what the heck is this game and come up with our own way of doing it. Now you can see great masters at running games, you can see players, you can see cool tricks and stuff. So that, I think, is both an enormous asset, but it also put pressure on it because players have expectations of DMs should act like people who have hours of time to prep and stuff. So
Thank
it goes
you.
both ways. Yeah.
I spend so much time with like coaching clients and people just in my streams telling them, if you can have that, you can set boundaries and have expectations of your players. If you set those, if you express those expectations, the players can have the agency to figure out if that's for them or not, you know? Because at the end of the day, it may be a lot of labor depending on the game, as long as the labor isn't something that we do like, you know, Sisyphus pushing up a boulder, but it just everyone's happy to do it and everyone's contributing to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I am someone that with, let's say, home games or AP games, depending on the person's time, I set off the bat, this is the expectation I have. With home games, you know, if I'm going to put in lots of creativity and like, you know, stuff that it could be creative work that I could be putting somewhere else into that game, I want them to like meet me halfway. And I tell them that, like, let's get creative together, or else just do other creative endeavors, right? It's all about individually what we find fun, how to understand that, how to set those expectations and verbalize them. So everybody who can decide this is for me or no, right? Because everybody has a different vibe and kind of what they like. Also, it's really nice to have another fellow Canadian here.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, I'm from Northern Michigan. I'm close enough. I can
now that I live in the US, I'm losing it bit by bit.
Take off, eh?
Yeah.
Ed, thanks for coming on.
Hey, my pleasure.
Love you. Love you. Yeah, man. You're just the
Thank
greatest. So we're talking campaigning. But you can ask anything you want of our guests. So we've touched on preparation, how you keep notes, how you document things in your campaign. So what throw us a question out there of some sort.
Sure. Okay. Let me do the hypothetical one.
Okay, sure.
The thing that years ago Jim Ward used to do to people he was interviewing for jobs. So I'm putting you in charge of TSR for the day, he would say. How would you fix our game?
Oh boy.
In other words, what would you want to change?
Good question.
About the official rules that everybody sees, like published, to better reflect what you would like to have happen at your gaming table, or that you house rule at the gaming table anyway?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good question. That's awesome. I love it. Definitely drive home this is a guideline. This isn't the law.
Yeah.
You know, and the story prevails. I know that's written in almost every front page of whatever, but you have to circle back to that all the time. Is that like, I know that it says, you know, the rule is whatever, like a bonus action spell, right? We came apart about 2 weeks ago over a bonus action spell because you couldn't cast a spell after a bonus action spell or something like that. And we're like, but we're missing the point of the story. Like, let's keep going. That's the thing that I wish people get locked in about 5.5 and they're like, it's over. 5.5 is the new thing. Are you using legacy or whatever? Well, why not both? Why not add a little 3.5 if that's awesome as well? It's just whatever makes your universe work. That's what I would love to drive home, is that front page being like, look, this is to set if you don't know, here is a standard to use.
Yeah.
If not, use your style.
I think Tim is right. And I also think that you should also circle back to kind of what Matt was saying with prepping. Like, you don't need to know this by heart. Like, please, for the love of, like, I don't need you as a DM to memorize everything, and you don't need to know it all by heart. There's no way you can, and you'll make yourself bonkers and crazy if you try. So please don't. Please don't do it. I've watched it so many times where someone is stressing out. People who ask me to show them how to DM, where they're stressing out over a rule or something that they can't remember in the heat of the moment. I'm like, the book is right there. Just pick it up, babe. It's not that big of a deal. Nobody really cares if you have to look something up. It's okay. I promise. We all do it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Matt?
I think not necessarily how to fix TSR, but when taking the approach of game design and being like, we're releasing a product, we're releasing a system or something, or we're changing a system, we're doing to a new edition, something that for me is very important is that the people working on it have an idea to the core of its heart. This is what the game is in terms of the heart of it. Not let's make changes based off of many surveys, based on releasing things and reading a bunch of feedback and running it through like a marketing train. What I mean by that is this is what the game is at its core, so that when you know that, you can express that to the people who, if they want to buy it and they get it, there's a relationship between the people who created that game and the people playing that game. And then they can take that game once they're at home with it and do what they want with it. Right. But at the end of the day, it's the decisions being made about the game, the mechanics, the class fantasies. To me, what a class is what is the class fantasy? If you can justify it and ask why, you know, like some people will say, and I agree with it, a paladin is just a cleric with charisma. It's just a cleric that's a bit more punchy. And we can all debate that. We can all debate if a hot dog's a sandwich. It doesn't matter. It's all about the heart of the thing, because you can take a fighter, you can take a paladin, and you can write the same character with both, and or not. You know, it's all about the relationship a person has with that. But I think I like games that have a lot of thought put into, this is our baby as a team of creators. This is what we're trying to do. And that communication is shown in the way that you read it. And it's not trying to be everything at once, you know? And does that make any sense?
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
it makes a lot of sense, but what's bugging me right now is that you just said that a hot dog is a sandwich, and I don't know what to do with that.
It doesn't matter. So
everything is, so the idea is everything is perception, right? And when you read a game or when you show a game to somebody, having from the creator's perspective, this is why we're doing what, this is why we're doing this. This is why we have these classes. This is why we have this. This is why we have these ancestries, in terms of like, this is what they mean to the world. There's heart put into it. There's relationships together. And or if you don't want to do that and keep it vaguer, it's here are the tools for you at home to play with it and make it your own, you know? But having a purpose and a premise that isn't just trying to be something for someone else. Yes, be something for people, but I think like the best games I've ever played, whether they're video games or anything else, have been a passion project first, and they've been shared, and then you can have a relationship and you can add on to that passion project, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Can I chime in and tie into what you said, because you said perception is key, and that is where I would like to, meaning if I were asked that question as a hiring interview, I would say senses and how you sense the world and how monsters can sense the different sensors, because the rules are written by engineers or game designers, and the old school is like you have infravision and ultravision and stuff. They're technical and not fantasy, as not fun, so to speak. And the modern ones are just like dark vision. It's a catch-all. They're written from a game design perspective. I would love to have senses that ties in to the stories that are much more fantastic. Meaning, how do ethereal creatures see the world, and astral? How do you sense magic, alignment? And stuff like that. Life, can that be sensed? Unlife, what ranges and stuff. I would love to structure senses and have rules for them in a fantastical way, so to speak, that you can tie into cool monster abilities. What monster can ethereal creatures sense you through the walls, since they can move through the walls and stuff? So I would regulate and put rules to these things to add more cool stuff, so to speak. One of the things I've done in my house rules is say that alignment sense works like it's like a long dimension, but you can only see one dimension. So what I'm saying is that if you can detect evil like a good paladin, and you can stand in and look out at a square and there are hundreds of people, and you can detect there are some evil ones out there because the surroundings is neutral. But when you step into the evil temple, everything is evil. You can't detect shit, so to speak. And that means that you can use that sense when you're a paladin and you guard a good temple. You can see all the demons coming in because everything is good, and they will stand out as a sore thumb. But when you, as a paladin, when you step into the evil dungeons, you stand out to a sore thumb, and everybody can detect good, can see you, so to speak. So senses can be tied into the fantasy tropes and stuff much better, and that's a missed point in my opinion.
I love that as like mechanics to me can be so great as narrative tools. And so that's why asking why when you're building a system from the ground up or whatever, and why you're choosing this ability, is they can all be narrative tools. And you just described a strong take on narrative tools, which is awesome, right? To me, that's so important.
So senses and how you can perceive the world should be a narrative tool, and that should be 20 different versions of it that you different monsters, magical abilities, and stuff can do, and they should all come with advantages and disadvantages, so to speak. Yeah. So that was my
I'm
pet peeve.
smiling ruefully as you're saying that, because I remember a designers meeting inside TSR where somebody said that exact thing.
Yeah.
What is the world to me if I'm a creature on the ethereal plane?
Yeah.
And the response was, gamers don't care about that shit.
Damn! If I were running TSR, I would fire that person immediately. If they
Yeah, well, you see, if they're the boss, that's harder.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's why I don't work at a game company.
Yeah.
See, Ed, that was a great question, and it went for long answers, which is fantastic. I want to say, if I can, I want to say one. Ed always says some unbelievably poetic things to me, and we have had this discussion a couple of times after I had my prostate cancer surgery. He's always said this. He said, Jay, you're alive now. Get it done now while you can, right? And I've always taken that, and I'm like, boom. And that's when, it just, the light bulb went on. Like, I only have, who knows if I'm going to be here, what's going to happen. We got to get this project with Luke done. I got to get Altamira done. So just like I said, Ed has given me some unbelievable advice in the industry and in the community. Just wanted to say that how much Ed means to me. So.
Hey, it's okay. I grew up in one of the wealthiest areas in Canada at the time. I was surrounded by, multimillionaires. And to them, the big treasure was time. If you're worth billions, you can buy extra buildings. If your neighbor complains about your house, you just buy his house out from under him. You make him an offer he can't refuse. Because you have so much money, you can do that. But the one thing you can't do, no matter how wealthy you are, you cannot put more time in your life. You cannot add more hours to the 24. Your time on this earth, whether you realize it or not, is finite. And what I say realize it or not is some people are so busy having hedonistic fun they don't notice. And I would say when you're a kid in school, unless there's something medically wrong with you, that's probably the boat you're in, because the world's your oyster. You have forever. And then, like the Pink Floyd song, you run and you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking. And suddenly you don't have that time anymore. And in my case, it's like all these people saying, aren't you going to sue Wizards of the Coast and try and get the realms? No, I don't have time left in my life to waste it in courtrooms. I want to do creative things with the time I got left. So, if you want to do something creative, do it now. Even if you don't have the resources and it's going to be, in your opinion, half-assed, do it. Because if you wait for the perfect time, the perfect time will never come.
Yeah.
All of these gamers change them. They house rule them. They modify them. They play with them because they're gamers. They're going to play with your perfect design, and you're going to discover that in somebody's eyes it isn't perfect because they've changed it.
Yeah.
So just put it out there. Let them play with it. Don't there is no perfection that we can achieve except by accident. Just do it. Do the thing. The world is probably full of great trombonists, saxophonists, violinists who don't know it because they've never picked the instrument up, or they picked it up once and it was hard and they got to the end of their class and said, well, thank goodness that's over, and went for a drink. And they could be the world's greatest if they ever knew.
That's it. I mean, you've ingrained that in my head now, Ed, and I really appreciate it. So,
hey, no problem.
On the fanboy realm that we're on now, here's the next question for everyone. I'm honored. I have Ed. I DM for Ed in the 2 Drink Minimum group. Anna's in that group as well. So we have a lot of fun. Ravalantar's a great character that Ed plays. I always throw his own spells against him, which is so poetic. So if you could play in someone's game or DM for someone or who and why. Could be someone out of Legend. It could be someone out of history. It could be someone alive now. But let's fanboy and girl it up a little bit here. So, who would you do? Who would you play?
Yeah, Sam, do you have some cool ideas here?
Well, salty right now because that was my question.
Oh, that was your question. I'm sorry, that was your question for everyone. Oh my God.
Great minds think alike, eh?
I love it though. I love it. If I could DM for anyone, and I have a similar question on my channel. So if I could DM for anyone, who would it be? Let's see. I used to have a set table in my mind where it used to be um, Genghis Khan for some strange reason, Malcolm X,
Okay.
and Robin Williams. Those are the three people I want at that table. I don't know why those three people. That's just what popped into my head. But recently, I've wanted like to be people who I've recently met and wanted to play with. So, people like Bad Briefcase Brown, Captain Robert, Axel Baum, a lot of different people that I've seen on stream, and just people I just hang out with. That's who I want to play with. That's So.
Cool. Good answer. Tim.
Yeah.
I've had some amazing experiences playing with people already. I remember Gary Con, I think it was my first session. I sat back to back with Mr. Greenwood here. So I don't know how many selfies I took over my shoulder. I was like, I made it. You know what I mean? Like I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons right now, and I'm in this room, and we're all sweating in this little room. But I'm going to give an answer that you might think is kind of cheeseball, but so just kind of like religion, I don't really force that on my kids or family. So I play Dungeons and Dragons, and if I have an ultimate who plays in front of me, it's my kids and literally and my wife. And if I have an ultimate DM, it's one of my kids growing into this space, getting the fantasy and wanting to deliver this. So in my opinion, it's giving off and sending off your generational path, much like
great answer.
Mr. Greenwood saying that should I sue somebody to get Forgotten Realms back? You can't, because they didn't invent Blackstaff Tower, they didn't invent Elminster, and that stuff lasts forever, and you can't buy that. You can't buy the Forgotten Realms. You created Stormlight. I play that mystery, that murder mystery. You know what I mean? Like you can't buy that. It's ephemeral. So I think if my kids got into it and DM'd for me as I'm decrepit and in the nursing home or whatever, like that's it.
Oh my God, that's so sweet. Oh my God.
It's awesome.
That's awesome. Yep.
Yeah. My kids and Tim and Bill, we have their own adventuring group. We don't get together anywhere near as much as we can because of schedules, but yeah, with all the kids playing, it's awesome. Yeah. How about you, Matt, on that one? I got you.
Tim, you just described my dream, man.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to have kids for that one purpose. As soon as they can talk, it's done. I might even just to teach them French, because it's gonna be hard to teach my kids French in America. But we might play D&D in French. Like that might be the thing to help them to speak French.
Oh, nice.
You guys are killing me here.
I grew up in Quebec, Canada, but I lived in Toronto for about 9 years. Ed, quick side note, Ed, you talked about there's not enough time in the world. That's why I left Toronto, because it costs too much in time to bartend to make that Toronto rent, right? And so once I moved out there, I was able to start doing this stuff full time, right? But yeah, I think I'm gonna just honorable mention to like one person in the TTRPG sphere, and then to have fun with the question, I'm gonna go with people that are not. I always say my favorite player of all time, because I'm a performer and I love that and improv and stuff. Lou Wilson from Dimension 20 is just, there's something about improvisers who usually do comedy who are so good at the vulnerability of like all that stuff. But if not, a table full of Jim Carreys.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That would be crazy.
Tell 4 different Jims, like Jims, 2 different characters. Or just comedians. I think comedians would be great. Daniel Sloss, Eddie Murphy. Or musicians. Like I've always I sing, I play guitar, and I've always wanted to have a table of musicians and see like, hey, what if we just jam after a session or something, and make some music about it. I've always thought that, both like maps and imagery and art are huge inspiration for me as a GM when I world build. So is music, right? Especially
cool,
lyricless music.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I was thinking, tie into what all of you have said, is that now I'm thinking, now I'm seeing one of the dream scenarios is that I got the inspiration from Tower of Gygax last Gary Con, and because I had such a group of eager players that were like, this is going to be so much fun, this is going to be so much fun. I would love to have a group of people who never played D&D, who are interested in Greyhawk, to have paid some money to go to a convention and they don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
That will be an awesome group because they will be like oohed and awed of new things. They will not be jaded. They haven't seen all the tricks before, and to guide them in. But they need to be curious about Greyhawk. They heard a little bit about it. They watched a few shows, whatever. So they're kind of interested in it. They maybe touch D&D, but they should be still have that new player kind of cool things. I want to learn that. That will be an awesome group to run an adventure for, to get them into, or maybe even a long-term campaign, so to speak, to start getting them in, place them in one place, build the world build around them, and realize this is a big world, introduce the cool old legends and stuff like that. That will be motivated players that are newbies, so to speak. That's my top player, I think, that I would love to run a game for. Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, Sam, I took your question. I apologize.
It's okay. It's totally okay. I think I'll get over it. It's okay.
Wow. All right. So, any of the other panelists, Tim or Sam, do you have a question? I think
I do actually have a question.
Please,
it's just like it's not a D. It's not specifically a D&D question. It's about like, well, I guess it is with like TTRPGs, especially D&D. Like growing in popularity. It's all over the internet. It's on Twitch. It's on TikTok. You can find YouTube channels about D&D everywhere. What do you think this like burgeoning popularity is going to do to the game going forward? Do you think it's going to change how the game is played, or do you think it's going to pretty much stay the same?
Well, go ahead, Anna. You raise your hand first.
I think we already seeing it. There will be more diversity. There will be way more ways of playing the game. There will be more games, and there will be a lot of synergy from live role play, people who loves to sit and interact and go. And there will also, I think, be a lot of hybrids between tabletop role-playing games and computer role-playing games. They will be hybrids that will be in between. They will be very video game oriented, but they will have more of role-playing, more free actions and stuff like that. There will be aids and stuff. There will be some people will play the old school. They have physical dice, pen and pencil and whatever, and nothing. So they will they will touch multiple hobbies. We have augmented reality. When that's coming, there will be role-playing games where you physically have to walk around and meet up with strangers and do your thing and roll dice and stuff. So we will have new forms of game that we can barely even imagine yet. Meaning this will branch out in various directions. And also, I think because technology is not a new cool thing anymore, and for some people, they'll see it as an unnecessary craziness that we have to live with. And that is also changing because this is something you do with real people. But we also have AI, so some people will probably just want to have a quick game with someone else telling you what happens. And it will be running like a single person game where you play against AI and stuff. So they will go in, my prediction, in 25 different directions at once. And there will be, just like role-playing games was born from wargaming back in the day, there will be new genres of games that are seeing birth from D&D and tabletop role-playing games. That's some of my predictions or guesses.
Anyone else in the panel want to answer that?
I hope that with the boom in TTRPGs, that more people will start LARPing. Because if you've never LARPed before, it's like tabletop, but it's very different in terms of its medium. It can be very immersive, and it's something that, like, I just want to see more people invest both in community and in money in that. If you've seen a staff of people work a LARP, I, as a professional game master, am a lazy baby compared to the work put into a
Can't
LARP that people
imagine how
do
crazy
for no
it is.
pay,
Yep.
just because they love it and they know there's so much involved with it, right?
Yep.
And as someone who gets to participate in a LARP, I feel very grateful with that, and I try to help whenever I can. But it can be really, 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 really awesome. And the more people in a LARP, like as a community, not this thing where it's like you're not helping out and it's like a service exchange, it's a community-based thing. It could be really cool, because I think someone in chat was talking about VR. I'm like, or LARP, better.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, LARP's great. I wish Canada had more LARPs. Oh boy.
We do.
Yeah.
It's called the House of Commons.
Nice.
Sick
Yep.
burn.
The most boring political LARP in the world.
Yeah. I didn't say it was good.
Oh, no.
It's just there.
I think the congressional LARP is more fun in that way, or at least more entertaining or terrifying, depending on where you stand.
Yeah, the villains are more interesting in the US.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Congress, there are more people who think they're good actors. That's
true.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But yeah.
I'm going to be Mr. Downer on this answer.
Okay.
So when I started this in early 2018, there were 50 D&D streams.
Mm-hmm.
When COVID hit, there were on a Saturday night, there were 500 on a
Yeah.
Saturday night. It is viewership is for a lot is down now, and and it's much more competitive than it was 3 years ago. And we're seeing a lot of channels just going away because it's just they're not making it, right? And a lot of them, we know those channels, how difficult it is, or you've gone into something else. And I don't know if it's going to bounce back the way it did during COVID. But there's still a lot of great channels out there, but there's not 500 of them like there was. I mean, you're a little more limited in your viewer options than you had 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
but okay,
good.
but Jay,
Yes.
in North American society, over our lifetimes, because we're old, let's admit it.
Yes.
The change has always been from the generalist to the specific and niche.
Yeah, true.
When we were kids, everybody read comics.
Yep.
Not necessarily comic books, but everybody read comics. Your parents did. Your grandparents did. They were in the paper.
Yeah, true.
Everybody read the paper. Everybody read general interest magazines like McCall's, Harper's, Life magazine, Time, and then they got specialized. You know, left-handed weaver, model railroading, model. You know, and they become more and more niche, and that's what's happening. As we move out of the time of we're all stuck at home, let's find something to do that doesn't involve making babies because babies are expensive. Then you go into like, hey, here's a diversion I can do at home.
Yep.
So of course, the moment we're out of that, there's more competition again. I hate to say it, for your time.
Yep.
So that's why.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a bad thing. It's just
we
a
are
reality.
losing a lot. Yeah, we will have less common frames, just like war gamers and role players were one community, and then the role players gradually grew out of them. We will have sub communities that will grow away from us and create their own base communities eventually, and new forms will grow into us too, so to speak, and that will reshape it. So
What are your thoughts, Tim?
You know, with the saturation of the new with people pouring into D&D or TTRPGs, I think that gives you more arrows for your quiver. Things, you know, the new ideas will pop in. You can't fight against a tide, right? So for me, when I came in and started doing this, there were like grognards saying you're a DM, you're a D&D tourist. And then on the other side, you used AI art. I hate your guts. You know what I mean? So like there's always two wings of the fight in, well, there's some goodness over here in the AI world if I'm just too busy and I don't want to spend $800 on a piece of art and I just really need to throw a picture up real fast. Also, do you mind if I play Dungeons and Dragons? You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, with the personalities, you kind of weave through that, just like social media, be like, there's haters over here, there's haters over here. You know, that's, you know, so be it. And just kind of learn, one, respect where they're coming from. Also, the grognards were there first. So respect that with a lot of the things that are the foundation that we're on. So respect that. Hey, artists gotta eat. So respect that. You know what I mean? And you know, and get and I guess give into their equities while you're playing as well. But like there's Roll20, there's people who like Jay who build the maps. There are people that use Theater of the Minds. These things, in my opinion, kind of proliferated, like Roll20 and D&D Beyond, and ways to roll dice for you real quick. And it's really valuable in a pinch. So I'm cool with some of the new tech and new things that come along.
Same here. Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere. But gosh, I almost sound like the downer guy. There needs to be some other. Here's Critical Role, right up here, and then here's everyone else down here. If you look at the viewer numbers, it's ridiculous. Now, the only stream I've seen that's made a huge leap and bound last year is Legends of Evantris, right? They've gone crazy, right? But besides them, it hasn't caught on beyond Critical Role, right? And I'm just saying that
No, Jay, that's more a question of how many is the room on the stage for.
That's true.
At a time.
Yeah.
And
you're right on that, Ed. Yeah.
And they are professional voice actors, so they do stand out. But I mean, again, play the I am old card. I can remember a time when there was no such thing as Critical Role, but there was a thing called Geek and Sundry, and it was everywhere. And there was no oxygen for anybody else.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and also the number of stages will probably change and disappear. Meaning there are new ones coming out, and meaning we live in the age of enshittification, so to speak. Meaning platforms that when they start to try and squeeze as much profit out of it, then someone else see a possibility. So where you will do things, meaning what tools we use to play, what arenas, virtual or real, we play, will change and shift, so to speak. They will. Both online will shift. There will be new tools, new ways and arenas to play. There might be protocols in the future where you can just throw up a game and advertise it out, and people just come in and watch it. You might not need to be on a huge network. We don't know. Meaning the internet is a very fluid thing, and technology is changing fast, so to speak, and also the knowledge of it. So that is also something that I can see. Twitter and YouTube and others have the hegemony now, or a duopoly almost, or something that in 5 years that might be completely different. And creator platforms like Patreon and others, they have to watch their back because someone else will come and steal the show if they don't do it well, and so that is. Things are changing. So just because you're being on a platform right now, not even your platform might exist in a few years. So you might have to go somewhere else. And the audience, do they follow with you or not, and stuff. So
So real quick, imagine this. You play D&D, so there's Coco and Bird, right? You play D&D, they play it on my channel for like 6-9 months or whatever. Then they go to GaryCon. The first time they ever play in person with anyone is Ed Greenwood. First time ever. Imagine that at Tower of the Guy. I just wanted to share that picture from there. I mean, can you imagine going back to the fanboy thing? So that was really a cool moment, and we can have a lot of those cool moments. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not being the downer. I'm just saying that it's. I think the Twitch peak happened during COVID because everyone was stuck at home. But
but I don't think we've seen the peak of gaming for an audience. That is, it's going to get bigger. Yeah, meaning, and also that's the other thing that we rarely talk about. Meaning, I'm from another part of the world, speaking another language. The rest of the world still has to discover role-playing games, and there can be huge audience coming from Asia, Latin America, even Africa and stuff. So just how popular this is, and also it can be a very cheap hobby, meaning dice and pencil doesn't cost anything, and so I can see that role-playing games could fit any culture because you can shape it into whatever you want. Old Nordic, the Asian, that you can play with any myth, any technology, any era, and that I think we can have an enormous upswing in other parts of the world that we never realized, so to speak.
I think there's something to be said about platform, and it's all marketing, right? It's all marketing.
Absolutely.
Twitch is not known to be good for discoverability. There's just not a lot of people in this category at a time scrolling through it, right? Legends of Evantris, and this is nothing to be derogatory towards them. They used to stream for a small amount of people, and they got big on TikTok when TikTok boomed in 2020 because everyone was at home on TikTok. Yes, there were people on Twitch, but there was 100,000 times more people on TikTok, because TikTok is, when you talk about like the psychology of consuming content, TikTok is easy dopamine. It is quick. It's just when people are tired and burnt out and maybe depressed because, you know, they're spending a lot of their time not feeling like they're not working, you know, their time has been frozen. Psychologically, you get into these zones where it's harder to motivate to do other things, and so easy dopamine is a thing. And so a lot of creators, if you look at creators in the sphere, some of them didn't get known from doing actual play, from streaming things. They got known from doing TikTok, and then when they moved to other platforms, they're already streaming for a bunch of people. It's just it's just social media marketing in its own sense, right?
Yeah,
and it's one of those things we can't control that.
And they said they cracked the algorithm too. They figured it out, so that was good point.
Yeah, I was also thinking we have play by mail was a thing back in the day. That could have a resurgence with today's. If you make cool tools for play by mail through social media or through some cool platform, that might be really cool. You can have like micro sessions that are like 10 minutes long or something. You can have
mushes on CompuServe back in the day. I'm
yeah,
showing my age now.
Someone might come up with a cool way of doing quick play by mail that you can just chime in and do some cool stuff, skirmish games or whatever. Yeah.
Anna, when I was a kid, a lot of the Canadian officers who were posted to London and various military bases, they would play chess every day because Her Majesty's Mail in London at that time had 3 or 4 deliveries a day, depending on.
So you could get like 3 rounds over a day or something.
You'd have your breakfast, and your opponent's first move would be in your hand, and you'd read it, and you'd change your board. You'd send your next book back by next move back by breakfast post, and so on and so on. Well, email is even faster.
Yeah.
So you could return that. Yeah.
Yeah. And if someone, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say it's all ease of use and cheapness.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that soccer rules the world is because all you need is a ball. Yeah, that's why. So if you happen to be in a poor neighborhood anywhere in the world, you can play too. And that makes a huge difference.
Yep. So I can expect we can have new ways of quick play is one arena, and also geographical and cultural spread to other parts of the world can explode. And also, but on the other hand, in order to kind of move up, a lot of people need a little bit of literacy, so to speak. You need to read rules and have interest in a little bit of academia and stuff like that. But as people move up from poverty into middle class, middle income, it can explode. We see it in Philippines, we see Nigeria, Brazil, other countries that can explode. When a country like Indonesia and India and others who have 300-400 million people, middle class, and so on, they can formally explode, and that they might be the next giant in this type of gaming. They might call it something different, but the idea might be very similar. Yeah, exactly.
Brazil is big in Brazil. That's true. So some questions from the audience while we have some time here. And Filmy Girl Project asked, and she'll be on tomorrow night, which will be awesome. Anyone have a really hysterical, funny moment when they were DMing? Something that's like, oh my God, that's hysterical. I have one of all time. I had a guy who got critical hit, and he lost his right arm and left leg with one swing. And everyone's like, how did that happen? How's that possible? And I had to stand up like this, with this leg out and this arm like this, like here, right? So just to figure out how that happened, because so there you go.
I have to think about this.
I have one from Tower Gygax this year that was awesome fun. They took a door and they unhinged it and then shoved it down the corridor to block a troll, and then they cast a wall of fire and fireball and stuff on it. So they caught it on fire, and then when that didn't work, when they finally the troll broke through and come up, and there were 3 other trolls, they took another door and did the same thing, and people thought it was hilarious and it was a lot of fun, and they used it as a they skated down on it, so to speak, or slid down on it and stuff. So that we had a lot of fun with doors being.
It's hard to pick these moments out like just from the top of your head.
They just happen.
I'm like sitting here thinking about it.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound that fun when you talk about it, but when 8 people decide around the table, this is the most fun we've had in a year, it becomes fun, so to speak. Yeah.
Anyone else? I have another one. So, Little Bones, as everyone knows, her character does crazy things, and she's on the top of a viewing post, and her character's up there. She's a bandit. And she goes, "I want to jump. It's 40 feet high. I just want to jump and land on the baddies below, just like in a TV show." And I'm like, "You want to do what?" And I'm like, "Okay, you're gonna need to make this roll." And she did it, made the roll, landed on him, knocked him down. It was just freaking. I was like laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that actually worked." So that wasn't that long ago. Yeah, you can see right, and you can see her doing stuff like that.
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, a little bit. Yep. Bones is DMing in the very next. We're going to rate in the darling after this creep show, and she's DMing tonight. So, yep, that was funny. Anyone else? I know this is that's tough off
I'm
the
trying
top.
to think of ones that are
tough,
PG,
yeah.
rated PG for stream.
Yeah, well, it's okay. We're all adults here too.
Gotcha.
We're all adults here too, Matt. So it's okay as long as it's not.
Okay. What's
overly-
the stream rating?
I got it on adult.
Perfect. Sometimes a good wild magic surge with a player who just wants to absolutely make me break on stream. I run this improv game called Whose Rolls It Anyway, where it's fully improvised. They randomize characters and stuff, and people can redeem to sometimes as fundraisers and stuff to influence the game. And one of them is a wild magic surge. And I have one player who rolls a wild magic surge, and she says, I look at her, I'm like, okay, so it's 20. It's the grease spell. What happens? She looks at me and she says, I come. Later on in that session, once again, a 2% chance again. The next time she's invited onto the show, again. I swear, these are rolled out in public, right? These are like VTT rolls every time. And it just gets worse and worse. And I consider quitting DMing every single time. Here I am today.
That worse and worse is spelled better and better.
Yeah, basically.
I knew it.
The bit just gets better when it, like.
Yeah. Hey, Matt.
Go ahead.
Please go, Sam. Please. So
I occasionally DM for a bunch of 12 and 13-year-old boys. They are. I say they're feral. They don't care about their characters. They just love playing the game, and I love that about it because they don't care about dying. They just love playing the game and role playing and doing all these things. And there was a session where I don't know how it came up. We had a bunch of feral kobolds running across a field to a cliff, and they decided as a group that they were going to save these kobolds by linking arms at the edge of the cliff. And they just launched them like they did, like red light, green light style to try and stop. It didn't work. They all died, but it's the cutest thing. And I just love how like these kids like just don't. They just want to play the game. They don't care about they're not so invested in the character that they're trying to manipulate the game. They just want to play. I love that. So that's it's not funny, but it's amazing. I think it's just an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah.
I have a funny thing that Ed did.
Uh-oh.
So no, you're gonna. We're in the basement of this keep, and Ed goes down the steps, and there's a spellcaster, necromancer, and Ed goes, I know he's got minor globe up. He goes, F it, I'm not casting any spells at him. He goes and takes his alchemy jug, runs up to the guy, and tries shoving it down the acid part. Remember this, Ed? The acid in the alchemy jug down the guy's throat. Because he's like, I know you got all the buffs up, and there's no way I can cast any spells on him. That was funny. I was shocked. I was like looking at Ed, like, wow, Ed, I triggered you. That was great. So yeah, great Ed moment. Funny. So. Tim, you don't have any funny moments in your games, right? You're all serious.
Yeah, it's all very dry and boring. I can't just like hit one. There's bloopers. I think some of there's like the door or the jug, but like if you're on a stream, there's bloopers. I have all these Instalink cameras that you have, Jay, and I remember at one point in time, I'll be sitting here. And I was in a rush and didn't even have pants on, right? So I'm just like running, and I walked by one of the cameras, and I was like hanging out. And one of my buddies was like, "Yeah, I'm just watching Tim." Because I had rugby shorts, and they were like real short.
So just flexing.
And I was like looking away, and they're like, "Yeah, we're sitting here looking at Tim's butt for like the past like 5 minutes." Like, oh
awesome.
shoot, my bad.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Another audience question. And and maybe some of you don't have this issue, and some do. How do you deal with metagamers?
Oh God.
Oh dear. Yep.
There's always a metagamer. I think there's a
Yep.
big ARP here. There's always a metagamer. I think every time you sit at the table, you're going to get the 4 or 5 personalities. The person that will text you more backstory while you're driving to work than they do in the game. There's that person, right? That like
The
lives
detail-oriented person, yes. Yeah.
Yep. And the metagamer, you gotta let them win. You gotta hit them when you gotta hit them. Like you gotta know the rules. They'll keep you on your toes, but if they surprise you with a meta rule, don't get imbalanced at the set, you know what I mean? Like at the table,
tilt.
lose your
Yep.
professionalism, always tie goes to the runner, I guess, like, okay, cool, that worked. But then keep your mind on that. I remember at one point in time, one of my buddies had the immovable rod, and they did something in Reddit where they wanted to stick the immovable rod on a dragon. And I wanted this dragon to do so much damage to him. And they were like, yep, the dragon's frozen. And I was like, oh no, the dragon bites its own flesh and rips that portion of it. I thought about it like real fast.
Nice.
I'm just like, if you're you just got to get overly story creative sometimes against a metagamer to kind of block that in. Okay. And don't ever forget, there's a thing called old magic. Well, no, that force field it's been there for a while. Those ancient runes from the ordning of giants. Sorry, man. No one knows that level of maestro or whatever. So
Yep.
That's a great question.
I think Astrolayer has a good point. When you run a table with multiple engineers, I've done that. And when you have people and they could start talking about the nature of that, what I usually did as a DM, I sat back and let them just battle it out. And 2 hours later, it was like, oh, we didn't get to do anything. Yeah, because you didn't break the discussion. And then so you have to self-teach them they have to come up themselves and realize that if they go into the nature of a crossbow bolt's ability of penetrating armor or whatever it is, then or riding or something, then let them do it, and after a while they figure it out that it's not good for gaming. That's been don't try to force them away from it. Let them figure it out themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's hard because you have to sit there and you wanted to do really good game, and they're all talking about some esoteric thing about whatever it is. Yeah.
So let's go on to the next one, because Jillian Matt just had a great question. What do you all struggle with? Yes. What do you all struggle with the most as DMs? How have you overcome past struggles? That is a great question.
Yeah.
Who wants to take that first?
And storming, norming, forming is really tough. Like when you get a party together, I think if you heard of Cog's Ladder, where people come together and they're super nice on day one, and then when personality starts showing up to the table and you have a disagreements like as a family kind of grows together, keeping everybody together is really tough when disagreements happen or a personality conflict happens, and trying to work through that. I think that in a TTRPG is a very dynamic thing, because it's not just binary when you're sitting there. Sometimes like someone just had a rough day at work, or whatever. You got to kind of balance the real life. Like people are an iceberg. This is the part that they bring to the table, and then this part is their life that you want to keep balanced as well. So the keeping the family together is a dynamic in a TTRPG that I think is really tough. In certain cases, over 3-year campaigns or whatnot.
Yeah.
Real life can derail easily too. Go ahead, Matt.
I think the thing that I always found the most difficult moments as a GM over time are the moments that have made me grow the most and learn the most. And they are unfortunately the moments that give me the most panic attacks. And I've lost friends over this hobby. We put a lot into it. Sarah Lynn Bowman is an author that does it works a lot in the psychology of character bleed and why people do role play, mostly with studies on LARPs, but it translates really well to TTRPGs as well, in terms of why people play the games, what kind of agency they want. And often the choices that people make are sometimes subconscious. They don't know if they're really gunning for something and they're disappointed by the outcome. that leads to the previous question of metagaming. Some people, they get their agency through being able to craft their character to the best of their abilities with the mechanical rules in front of them. That is the control they have. Some get their agency and the dopamine and validation from their choices being validated, essentially. Like, I want to do this thing. Yes. Sometimes they have to have the dice go in their favor or whatever. But I've noticed the most important fucking thing for me is realizing what I want as a GM, what I need, the bandwidth that I have, and two things. Expressing, and I harp on this a lot, I'm a broken record, figuring out what you need and what your boundaries are, expressing them, and inviting players to actually figure out what they want, which I notice a lot of people, no one's really asked them exactly what they want. So they've never had to sit down and process exactly, hey, what is it that I want from this game? And it takes time to figure that out, right? So that they may express their expectations and we may have an open communication. I always say the most important skill as a GM is insight, both into yourself and to other people, so that you can go like, well, this is where I'm at. And so the table isn't, it's such, there's so many moving pieces with role play. You know, we're trying our best. We're making stuff up on the fly. We don't always remember every moment that happened. We don't always come across the way that we want to come across, either as a GM or as a player. So being able to talk about it before and after is really important. All that stems from moments where I've had arguments over things that if I look back on, those arguments wouldn't necessarily happen today the same way, because I've learned a lot from it. It's a bittersweet type thing, you know, but it is that it's communication, and sometimes it breaks down. And I think the thing that I've learned through that is lead with compassion first. And like you were saying, Tim, some people show up to the table and they're not having it that day, man. They're not feeling well. And it's, if you can figure that out quick and actually lead them compassionately through that, and or maybe afterwards, you know, talk to them about it in a way that feels comfortable for them. That's why I think like your own table's version of safety tools, whatever that means, it's like your communication guidelines. And if things go a little strange, just something that you can, as a group, have agreed on, this is how we deal with this stuff, I think is really important. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing that sucks more than having an argument with someone and not really realizing why, and it leading to that stuff when we're all just trying to have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And
I also think that one of the strength with role-playing games is that it can make the players feel powerful. Meaning in the real world, we can often not affect. We might lose a job, we might have family difficult, medical difficult, whatever. But in a role-playing game scenario, you can be the hero. You can vanquish the evil. You can do things. And I think as a GM or DM, depending on what the term you use, that then one of the key aspects is to make the player feel powerful and have agency. Don't take the agency away. Have bad things happen to the character, but try and give the players options and present options. Even when you see players struggle, give them, that you have this option, or you can use that rule or whatever. So try and give them the sense of doing cool stuff, so to speak. It's hard, but it's try to emphasize the meaning. A lot of the reason I run games is because I want them as political therapy. I come up with these political cool scenarios, what the villains do, and then I want the players to go in and vanquish them, and I can say, yes, the good can win, so to speak. And that's one of the reasons I love to run games, to have the players win, so to speak.
Go ahead, Sam. I think for me, is learning yourself as a DM grace, because a lot of the times, I think GMs, whatever, storytellers, whatever we want to call ourselves, that we tend to try and put a lot on our plate, and trying to not only make our players have an enjoyable experience, but also make sure that we are running a professional table, or, doing the right thing and make sure everyone's getting along. And I think that we need to, as DMs and GMs, to lend ourselves grace, to be like, I need a break. I need to step back. I need to not do so much, and also be able to ask for help. So I think I learned really quickly in doing this that I needed to not put so much on myself and worry so much about what my table, yes, I want you to have a great time, but I don't want to give all of myself and leave everything on the table so I have nothing for myself. So I think we need to lend ourselves, like DMs need to learn to lend ourselves grace. And I learned that really, really quickly. Otherwise, DM burnout is a real thing, and that can happen. Yeah.
It is undoubtedly a lot of labor. Like,
Mhm.
depend, even if you're doing a lot of improv in your game and there's not that much prep, it is still a lot of labor.
Yeah.
Whether it's creative bandwidth, performance
Love the
bandwidth,
dog, Tim.
and so yeah,
So I want to hear what Ed has to say about this.
Ooh.
The
Oh
DM.
no, I was keeping my mouth shut because hey, this isn't the Ed Greenwood show.
Yeah, I know Ed. I know Ed. But this question, because Jillian asked
Well,
us you and I have been doing this a long time, and I'll go last. But I want to hear.
oh,
You as the
okay.
DM have to have. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
Mm.
We're old men, so we're definitely not perfect, right? So,
yeah.
I got to hear this. I got to hear this. What for
Okay,
you?
so
Yeah.
So first of all, I think we've already had an answer that puts the finger on the number one problem in most of our lives: bad communications, or a failure of communications, or communications breakdown. That is key in
Yeah.
our lives. If you learn one life lesson from all the gaming, it's that communications. Make sure you work hard at it, because that
Right.
makes all the difference. Um, I Years and years ago, I'm going to tell stories out of school now, but most of the people, I hate to say it, are dead now. Um, uh, we're going back to TSR in Lake Geneva, and we're going back to Lorraine used to take her high muckety mucks on a retreats to Galena, where there was a resort, which is why the Galena Mountains are in the Forgotten Realms, by the way. But the mere hoi polloi, the designers, the content creators, the people in her building she didn't talk to, occasionally went to my cottage up in Muskoka and played games for weekends, silly old games like war games from the distant past. And we got drunk and so on, and we sat and talked. And that very thing you were talking about earlier, about what do you want out of the game, if people relax, and getting liquored up was just their way of relaxing, they will give you honest answers about what they wanted to do, or what they wanted to do in this job that they managed to get, that they thought was heaven sent, because everybody wanted to work for the mothership back then. And it was like you'd reached the top of the mountain. Now what do you want to do with this job? So that they were actually sussing through and talking for the first time ever to someone outside their bathroom mirror as to what they wanted to do and achieve in this product or that thing. And I thought that was great, because good or bad, they came back from that weekend better at striving for whatever they wanted. Yeah, I I could tell horror stories till the cows came home, and I shouldn't, because
Right.
it's not fair to anybody, and they are the mistakes of the past. But that's how we learn. We learn from our mistakes. If you never have any hurdles in life, if you never have any things that are difficult or distasteful, or you're not sure if you can pull it off, or you get butterflies, or you're walking out on the stage saying, I can't do this, I need to go to the bathroom and barf a couple times before I go and try and talk to all these people because I have stage fright or whatever. If you
Yeah.
never have any of those obstacles in life, you get to the end of your days and they put you in the casket and you haven't really lived. It's all the hazards in life and overcoming them and saying, I didn't think I could do that, but somehow I did. How did I do that? I don't know. I geez, next time maybe I better be sober so I can take notes or whatever. It was like, if you don't do that, then you haven't lived. So I think that's the thing: overcoming adversity, trying the thing you thought you could never do, doing it, or muddling through, saying, "Whoa, I made a hash of that." But that's the thing. I happen to grow up with farmers for some of my grandparents. Long story, but and they would say, well, oh, yeah, I screwed that up. I'll do it better next time. Because if you're running your own business and you're running a farm and it's live animals that you're dealing with, you can't take any time off. Their needs are always there. So there's always a next time. It doesn't matter if you never want to do that. It doesn't matter if you fell off the horse 40 times and you hurt and you never want to get on a horse again. You have no choice. There is going to be a next time.
Yep.
So
and there's always a next season, next year, next cycle of breeding cycle or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone, Sam has another thing she has to do, has to go to.
Oh,
so we're gonna lose Sam here for
thank you
the
for
final 10, 15
being here.
minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Hope you had a good time with us. We'll invite you back, get you on a game maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, you got opportunities to play with a lot of us at GaryCon. Right?
I will be definitely going to be doing that. I'll be doing 2 panels at GaryCon, so I'm going to have a lot of fun. I can't wait to do that. Guys, you can find me anywhere. ClassicSamNYGM, totally find me. And thank you for having me. It was lovely meeting everyone, and I hope to see you all in person at GaryCon soon.
Sam, have a good night. Thank you so very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 She's got something that she had scheduled at the same time as this and pushed it back 2 hours, so I really appreciated it.
Yeah.
So I'll say this with me. I was in the shadows for 38 years before this community has grown, this community with Greyhawk and everything getting involved, and I had never DM'd for the most part, outside of my group. I was pretty scared shitless to do it, actually. PAX Unplugged 2018 was the first time I DM'd for strangers I didn't know. So it was only, 7 years ago? 6, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I'm glad I did it, right? And it's just like, that was me as a DM. I knew I could DM for my guys. I had been doing it for 40 years, but 30 or whatever it was, but I didn't know if I could do it for strangers. Like, what are they going to think of the old school style? What are they going to think of the miniature style? And that's just, got to overcome your fears, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was one big one, so.
Yeah, I was such a shy kid when I was going to school that I couldn't look at people in the face. I'd stare at the floor and I'd blush and I'd stammer. I could not talk to people. And my father said, son, you are stuck on this planet with millions of people and we know how to make more. So no matter how many of them you kill while my back is turned, they're not going away. You're going to have to learn to deal with them. And now I can fake being an extrovert very handily for a weekend at a time. I can go to a con and be the life of the party and
be up at 4 o'clock in the morning and get up and DM at 9. I don't know how you do it, Ed. At 9 o'clock in the morning. It's
very easy. You have people sharing your hotel room and they want to make love and whatever. And you have to they put a necktie on the door and away you go.
Ed Greenwood, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. So I knew that wasn't anything you could say because Ed is always right on the line, which is great. So that's why we love Ed so much. So
fantastic.
Yes, the things Ed has seen and done. All right, so yes, I know we're coming up on time. I don't want to keep everyone too much longer, but what are you looking forward to in 2025? How's that sound for a final wrap up?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to in 2025 with gaming or with your channel or with what you are doing? So who wants to take that first?
Yeah, Tim or Matt? What?
Yeah,
Tim.
Just holding what I got and making more friends and continuing. I think within the first year, I went to the bathroom one day at a Gen Con and I ran straight into Matt Mercer. I played back to back with Ed Greenwood. Jay, you've brought me to the table and on places like this. So you get to a point where you're just I'm still happy. I'm doing these things. Things kind of stress with work, but I just want to sustain and hold what I got and not, it's an endurance run sometimes. I want the channel to grow. Why do I want the channel to grow? I have to come up with a choice. Do I want renown or do I want the fantasy? And I keep running into that against my own ego a lot. And I want to work through that this year. Is what am I actually in this for? Because there is a draw for more renown all the time. And I have to go all I wanted to do was be Sir Timothy. Just, and be a good DM and bring people together. But then the drive for exposure kind of happened. So this year I want to consolidate gains and kind of hold what I got with the friendships that I have, start meeting more people at GaryCon, have more beers with friends that I meet there, and just the more people that go like, hey, I know you not as a market, I know you as a friend that you get to meet out in the tavern.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for this year.
Absolutely. And we had a great time last year. And we'll have even
Did I
better
say
time
one
this year.
circumstance that I talked about today?
What's
I
that?
talked to someone off the side. I met you at an ATM and I got a selfie with you. And no offense, I love Star Trek, okay? But Todd Stashwick was at the ATM. And I told someone, I was like, oh my God, it's Jay, just we're buddies. And you were looking at me like, what are you doing right now?
Oh, yeah, because I was sitting there talking to Todd, about something. That was awesome.
But can I say that that's the selfie that I want? Like, you're an incredible mentor and friend out there in the world. And I met a brother out in the battlefield. That's what was important to me.
Here's one of the pictures. I know there's two of them. Yeah, there's no. I don't know if I have the one with Todd there. Yes, so there's a couple. There's a couple.
Yeah,
I got all.
You can see the corner of his Progcore hat in one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, oh man, it was.
But I appreciate that. But your channel's good. You do a lot of work for charity, which is awesome. And just so happy that you've been playing as a regular in my special event games, and I think sky's the limit for you guys. So,
thanks, buddy.
What you do is very important. So, thank you so very much for that answer and for coming on here. So, Matt, what about you, man?
Oh man, that's a big question. Honestly, like the fact that I can do what I do full time for a creator my size is just unbelievable, and I'm so grateful. And at the end of the day, I spent the last week or two of 2024 being like, well, what do I want? Like, really, what do I want? And it's I want to tell stories, and so everything is based around that. I want to be a full-time creator so that I can have more time focusing on telling stories. I stream world building, I stream stat blocking because I actually quite enjoy that. My community loves that stuff. I just did some Beholder revamps. One of them is on Patreon. It's one of them is called.
You need to test them on Tim. You need to test them.
Let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. One is an Oops All Ma's, so it's all mouths instead of eyes, and it's all based off of the Chromatic Dragon. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, no, but for real, it's just I love the creative work, and coming into the next year, I want to tell more stories. I'm very lucky to have a beautiful community, amazing patrons. I just launched my Patreon with just the courage of the encouragement of my wife to get that off its feet. And yeah, I'm excited to just run games and tell stories and try new things out and meet new people. Like Tim was saying, going to like PAX U and Gen Con and just meeting people that I've played games with, meeting friends, being in a giant room full of TTRPG people of all sizes. It doesn't matter what your background is in terms of like you're on a huge show or you're just joining in the community. I think the culture of the community and promoting compassion, promoting lifting people up of all voices, promoting diversity are really fucking important things to do, and make sure that everybody feels welcome. And that just involves sometimes, I know this is going to sound ironic coming from me, but shutting up and listening. And I think that's a really fun part of it, right? My favorite parts as a GM is when I get to sit down and just listen to my players talk.
That's always cool.
Like, oh no, this is the plot now. This is okay. Yeah, sure. They're better. They're better writers than I am. Mm-hmm. TLDR. Yeah.
So, really appreciate you coming on, man, and thanks for your insights and stuff. I'm really having a blast. I'm doing a lot of direct chatting with Jillian in the background here too. She's so I already said, hey, you're starting to DM again. We'll have you on in the near future. It's like, yeah, cool. So yeah, absolutely. What a great time, and I just love hearing what you're doing, man. And thank you so very much for coming on. I hope you really, we're not that far away. So like I said, I had Robert and AJ here. You guys are welcome up.
I saw that. I was like, oh, I really want to see this.
Yeah.
Video.
So Anna's been in my basement too, and she got out alive too. So yeah. So it's
twice even. Yep.
Yes, twice even, and probably a third time.
Third time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before PAX, you and Chuck will be here. So
yep.
Oh gosh, I'm multitasking too much. So Ed, what about you for this year?
Oh,
2020.
Jay,
it's all under an NDA. I know. I hear it all the time.
and the rest of it is survival. I'm Canadian, so what do we want to do in every year? Survive. No, when you get to be my age, you look up every morning and say, "Oh, I'm not in the obituaries. Hooray!" I better get up and do all the stuff I have to do today. No, there are too many things. I will be taking off to film a movie in about 2 days, so that's one of them.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. So yeah. Now that I'm a great star, I mean, if Hollywood had discovered me when I was young and beautiful, and I had a waist.
Oh, you needed to level up your charisma to these divine levels now that they
Yeah,
Just
and
cast
now
glibness,
it's like
you'll be good to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Right. Yeah. No, there are one of the things I have to force on me this year, as you know, I've been working on Athcliath or Auchly, Viking Rule Dublin for Andrew Volkowskis for his Fate of the Norns game for 3.5 years now. I have to get finished on detailing the entire effing city. It is eating my life. I eat, sleep, and drink that in between the Hollywood stuff, in between all the gaming stuff, and there are things I cannot talk about, big new projects, and I've just spent like the better part of a month doing one of them at top speed, and made some great new friends doing it, and I love this, and I've got to do more of it, and I have to stay alive to enjoy all of it. So that's what my year is going to be, staying alive, because I have so much more I have to get through. The old thing that the editors in New York used to say, Ed, you can never die because we'll have to kill you, because I owed them so much stuff. That hasn't gone away. The pile just gets bigger. The to-do before I die pile just gets bigger.
It does, man.
Yeah.
That's so triggering. Oh my god. Oh, yes, it does.
It does. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay. Now, here's the trick. You will never be finished. You will die with stuff unfinished. Don't worry about that. Just do the things you really want to do first. And the only caveat is do the things you have to do to keep the wolf from the door and pay the bills first. But yeah, that you're never going to get it all done. So do what you want to do. The ones you want to leave behind, they want the world. I wrote this. Have fun with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Do that. Yeah.
It's all good. And I mean, my God, it's just like I don't know. I always am amazed how you do it. So, yeah, but you do it. That's what you just do it. You just do it, and that's crazy.
Jay,
crazy good.
It is possible. I do not recommend it to anyone. It is possible to subsist on 3 hours of sleep a night. I know because I've been doing it for the past 5 years. So,
so I'm going to ask a question to the group. I don't want this to sound arrogant, but Film Girl Project clipped a Todd Stashwick post discussing should I show it, Anna?
Oh yeah, you should show it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
That's really cool. Yeah.
All right. This is from his Instagram he does on Saturday morning. All right. And I just was, I really appreciate you clipping this and sending it to me. It's kind of brought me to tears a little bit. So here we go. That's I hit the wrong button. Here we go.
All right.
That's
How do
Jay.
I playing AD&D First Edition? Your buddy Jay invited me to play with him and his friends next weekend on Twitch and at GaryCon. There's so much I've gotten to play with Jay. Jay is an amazing dungeon master. Jay Scott. He's an amazing dungeon master. Very, very nimble, fast. Boom, boom, boom. There's something really meat and potatoes about First Edition. There's not a lot of theater to it. It's really where the rubber meets the road. I love old school D&D. I love the vibe. It's lethal. I would play. Yeah, play, Lindsay. You'd love it. You'd love it. I will not be at GaryCon this year.
Sad.
But you should go and you should play AD&D with him. You'll have a blast. And Jay is a fantastic dungeon master. He knows his stuff. He's been playing the same Greyhawk game for like 45 years. So I highly recommend.
There you go. That brought me to tears. So I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Yeah, I know. Todd and everyone jokes because I always say my good friend Todd Stashwick because I reached out to Todd like 4 years ago on Twitter because one of the few he always said how much he loved D&D and he had his direct messaging open. I just messaged him and I said, Todd, you want to play in a game with Ed? He's like, hell yeah, and that's how we became friends. Right? Remember that, Ed? So yeah, and that's just what a great guy. Thank you. And it's a good reason why you won't be at GaryCon this year, but we can't say that. Yeah, and Lindsay, thank you so very much for clipping that. It meant everything to me that you did that. That was very kind. So I just wanted to share that. So, and I know I did that because of Tim talking about the Todd incident. I got his hat. Yeah. So yeah, it's a shame you won't be there at GaryCon this year, but yeah, it is. But we will. I'm trying to get him in the fundraiser coming up. I'm trying to get him in to play in the fundraiser game. So, Anna, what 2025? What do you think?
3 things. One, meaning I launched the current version of the Greyhawk or Flanny Sepmonaland map 25 years ago, or a little bit over 25 years ago. This year will be the one when I launch the next one. When there will actually be terrain and it will be the new version will start coming, so to speak. And I'm not talking a completely new map going from 1 mile per pixel to 5 feet per pixel. So I'm going to this will be the year when I want to launch it, mini cities and detailed stuff. So go into the weeds will be one of the goals this year, to start making the maps in a new way, so to speak. I've already started it by doing the GIS version of the current map. Step 2, what I want to do, I want to dip my toes into game design and have my own version of D&D out, the Hawktails. That will be a Creative Commons version of the game, so to speak. I'm not going for a commercial launch or any kind whatsoever. I will give it away, and I'm doing it because I want the version that I feel like I love to run, so to speak. So it's my heart, what they call a heartbreaker in the industry. But since I'm not expecting any money from it, but it might be 500 other people who might like the idea, and I want people to steal ideas from it, so to speak. So and that way I'm also forcing it. Then another reason I'm doing it is they're forcing me to run games more, so to speak. So that's that was one of the reasons to force me out to run games and to be more confident in doing it. So that's, and the third one is to simply go out, to go to conventions and meet more people, have more fun, see if I can start a game at a local game store we have here or something like that. So to play more, meet more people, and have more fun with it. So those are my 3 goals this year. Yeah.
So, Anna, I know we got a lot going on. So for me, it is get through my health issues. 2 hip replacements this year, but after that, at least the cancer's gone, right? So 1 down, 2 to go. But in the gaming world now, I haven't shared this yet, but you've seen it. This is my Free City of Altamira teaser guide. All right, so if you're new to the stream and the channel and you want to see what I'm about as far as Altamira goes, I'm linking it in chat. This is the free download on Cannibal Publishing site. There's also a couple other things you can download there free in the free section. This is the teaser guide for Troller Games, and it shows you a little bit about my city of Altamira, which is in Greyhawk and in Aird. It's going into there as well. So just free download for that. I got to get this finalized and finished this year with Troller Games. And then the other thing is we have our big, a real big project with Luke Gygax and Stephen Redding McFarland, our Belt's Guide to Greyhawk, the Borderlands of IUs, and that will be on DM's Guild and 5e, hopefully summertime. So a couple other things going on. The fundraiser is coming up. A fundraiser is coming up. And unfortunately, Ed's been to every one in the last 3 years, but Ed has a conflict, unfortunately, Undead Tumult. So he won't be in the main event on Saturday night, the 22nd. So, Eric Moen is in. Luke Gygax is in. So that's good. And also Bones and Darling are playing in that. And this is one I'm asking Todd to join us as well. I may reach out to you. These are the streams are all involved right now. I may reach out to some other channels. We start Thursday night on February 20th, and we go all the way through to Sunday to this Gabbin show Sunday night, 3 or 4 hours. It's all through Tiltify, buttons, boom, We got to raise $26,200 plus this year. We surpassed every year the last 6 years. This is year 7, so that's a big thing for me. It'll put us over the 100K mark this year for the community. So just let you know. Hips don't lie. That's funny. So and all the other stuff that's going on. So tomorrow night, real quick on shout outs, we have our session 0 because Lindsay, the film girl, is going to play in the Bone Baddies on Saturday afternoon. So we got to get her character worked up. And Tim, do you want me to give you the secret now, the surprise?
I mean, yeah.
Are you sure?
I love it.
How many characters do you have?
How many characters do I have?
Yeah, in my game.
Just one.
And how many groups? How many groups have you been in? 3.
3.
Yeah. How many does Coco have? 3 or 4, right? How many does Korg have? 3.
3.
Yeah, you need another character.
I need another character.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to swap it out at any time soon, but I want to make you another. I want you to make him another character tomorrow night too.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
cool.
thinking.
All right,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
All right. Awesome. So, get it? Yes, I'm getting new hits, Brevin. One in April.
Says make a paladin.
No. If you're gonna make a paladin, make an inquisitor or a freaking undead hunter. Make something a little different. All right, one of my subs. So,
Sir
all right.
Jim will.
And then so that game will be Saturday afternoon at 12:30, and we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow night. So, any other final thoughts? We're going to do the giveaways. Everyone, all guests, Sam and Matt and Tim are getting a $25 gift certificate from Troller Games. Okay, and I'll be sending that to you tomorrow because Chuck hasn't got me the code yet. But I promise, right in Discord, I'll send them to you. We're going to give away 125 and 2 15s now. First winner will get the 25. Next 2 will get the 15s. Okay, and I'll get that all down. And then we're going to raid into Darling, and she's got a brand new stream, a show coming up with Bones DMing or GMing in it. So we're looking forward to some fun things going on. And this has been a great show tonight. Thank you all. Thank you all. Let's all right. Last call! Exclamation point drawing, and let me do this real quick. Alrighty, here we go. Last call. Thank you for all the hype trains. Thank you for the raids. Really appreciated the support tonight. And Ed, thank you for coming on, man. I know how busy
my
you are.
pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah. It was worth it to see you push another wrong button.
Yes, exactly. I always push. Always.
At least one.
Yeah. Make it a drinking game next time.
Yeah.
We still have
Crown Royal.
Yeah.
We still have to do Punk Rock Jenny taking over the stream, right? Remember, she said, I want to take your stream over for 2 hours. I'm like, okay, I still have to do that one too. So maybe we do that and drinking at the same time. That would be a blast.
Oh, Jay.
Yeah, I know.
Never get your stream back.
I know.
I'll make myself available.
Yeah, cool.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. First winner, Dale. You get the 25s. And maybe Matt and Tim will get a joke out of this. The first time Dale is Assure the Bear ever won something, I said, ass hurt the bear.
Yes.
That's how I spelled it out.
Yep. That was funny.
Yeah. So
that can be taken in so many different
ways. I know. But
that
was like 5 years ago. So
Jay, do not try that in real life.
Exactly. It might be
bears can run faster than you.
Yeah, I got years old.
I got enough problems in my life to worry about that. Yeah. So
Kai, how cute the bear is.
Third and final winner is Something Incarnate. There we go. So Assured, Kai. Assure 25, Kai, and Something Incarnate each win a 15. And what a great show and discussion. Thank you all. Like I said, if you ever want me to return the favor and come on for a talk or something, please reach out. I'm more than happy to. And it's not like I've never played 5e either. I've done it.
Jay and me, we were part of a team that came last in the 5e.
5e challenge, yeah. We came dead last.
That was funny.
It was scary. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Was funny. Yep.
So, Matt, any other things you want to shout out?
Oh man, come check out my channel. I do a lot of stuff. I'm actually a lot of incentives with my community. The next one is I have to do a guitar noodling stream. I play guitar and do music, and it's my first time doing like that live on stream, so that's going to be something. By noodling, I mean it's not going to be a concert performance. It's going to be, hey, how quickly can I learn Freebird? I don't know.
Oh, cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun. No, but also in a few weeks, I do cooking streams with my wife, Jillian, often, and I'm a bartender. I used to be a bartender prior to doing this full time. because I have a theater degree. That's how you bartend. And so we're doing fantasy themed cocktails, and Jillian got really inspired. She's a great cook, so she's going to do some fantasy themed like tavern food, and we're going to have a fun little stream with that.
Awesome.
Yeah, great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Tim, see you tomorrow night. Anything else you want to shout out? What's going on your channel?
Ooh, the channel, we run, about 3 sessions a week, which is great. We're all running concurrently. So this week we've got Wednesday, then Sunday. I'm DMing this week, and then I swap over to other DMs. So I get like a break to set up the table and stuff like that. But I think the Castleton stuff is coming to an end too. So I'm practicing my improv skills there a little bit with some folks.
They didn't kill you yet?
I think it's pretty close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
just say. I would have thought that you'd be been by now, but that's cool. Awesome. And you're having fun with it. That's all that matters. So brilliant idea by AJ. Absolutely. Very, very cool. Well, and,
super talented.
All right, so let's rate in the Darling Creep Show and see what's new over there in this great game that Bones is DMing. I'm excited to see it, and thank you all for a great night. Appreciate it.
Jay, real quick.
Yes,
I
of
forgot
course.
something.
Yeah, please.
My wife's jamming something on her channel, and I'm her tech producer / running the things in the background and stuff. And it's her 4th time jamming ever, and it's a game called Thoughts and Players. It's a game run by and for all sex workers. It's going to be very goofy and a lot of fun.
Ed's eyes just went, boing.
Yeah, and so I'm behind the scenes producing all that, but it's going to be a great time. And she is crazy. I want to challenge her to GM a game off stream one day, so she doesn't have to have the pressure of everything else. But she's crazy, and she's doing really good with it for someone who's GM'd 4 times. She's so hard on herself, and I'm like, dude, it takes time, and she's already really good at it. So yeah.
It does. It absolutely takes time.
Just that. I'm super proud of her, so I forgot about that, and I want to throw that out there, if that's okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I'm followed already. Yeah, it looks like I have followed already. Just want to make sure. So when is it? When's that?
It is Friday, January 10th at 8 p.m.
All right, cool.
And yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. All right. Am I going to hit the wrong button? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, of course. That's what you're here
for. We didn't
for.
see Tim tonight. We didn't see Tim ripping out tongues tonight. But that's okay. All right, so let's say hi to Darling over there. Thank you, everyone. 7 p.m. EST. Got it. Very cool.
Sir Tim said he'd do strip D&D if we hit the next goal. Well, if it's in chat, it's canon.
There you go.
If it's
Wait, so if there's a goal after that, then Ed's joining you in strip D&D? Is that?
I can still make the tassels go in opposite directions.
Oh my gosh, Ed. We didn't even talk about Ed's massages at Gary Con, so yeah, we didn't even get to that tonight. So
that's in the next episode.
Oh man, well, the pictures I have, I probably got about a dozen of them.
Hey,
so, yeah.
I can tell you stories about floggings.
Oh gosh.
Quick, hit the raid button. No, I was kidding.
Yes.
All right, let's go in there. Let's go in there with like 70 or 80 in there. All right, look at this. Beautiful.
That can be fun.
Awesome.
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Bye-bye. Awesome. Shut this off. Boom, 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 boom.
86. Good number.